Hello there, everybody. It looks like we are going to be talking about the qualifiers of Prem season 41 of ETF2L. Wow, we've already deeper than 40 seasons. It's gonna be an interesting match tonight. We're gonna be watching Stevie Wonder's Aim School matching up against Trust the Process. One of these teams already was in Prem last seasons, but they're gonna have to try to qualify again anyway. Let's not get into that too deeply, though. I'm Surny, joined by Microcheeze on the camera and Dave on the microphone. How's it going?
Going pretty well. Looking forward to this game. The game yesterday was really, really exciting. I know we had some production issues yesterday, but once those were kind of even ironed out a little bit, I thought it was a really, really good game. And this one potentially is a very, very good one as well, I think. We've got Trust the Process coming in from last season. They didn't get the most points last season, but certainly towards the end, they had some quite promising results. And then you've got this new team, Stevie Wonder's Aim School. Actually, a very, very old roster. I think they played in season 25 or something last. But a lot of familiar names, the likes of Charlie and Yak, particularly, should be standouts to everyone.
That is very true. I mean, I feel like Charlie just like a couple of seasons, even last season, wasn't he like in Prem already or something like that? Like I'm pretty sure he played in a yeah, he played Div 1 last season, okay, but I feel like he played Prem season 39, that's the one. Yeah, okay. I knew I remembered something there. So obviously, like, yeah, this could be an interesting close matchup, I feel, for these teams. I think these are both Prem candidates for sure. I mean, are they going to be top contenders? Who knows, right? I'm not going to make that prediction just yet because I don't know how the teams are looking. I don't know how well they've been acclimating to each other as they're kind of obviously been around for a while, but also a bit troubled together. And this is for all the marbles in the highest division. As far as I'm aware with the rosters, and if everybody is playing, um, Trust the Process looks half similar to last season, but also is a bit changed. So you've got Af and Hemp, I believe, on the Scouts, Silves and Jordy on the Soldiers, ALX, aka Derpy Hooves, on the Demo, and then Doey now sitting in on Medic, I believe. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
what I've
how
heard
much of
as
that
well.
has changed.
I think it's only Dowie has changed from last season, and obviously Dowie, very experienced medic. He's played with Geordie a lot in the past as well, I believe. Geordie and Alf have played together a lot as well, so they should be familiar with each other. Dowie also, I think, brings a main calling presence as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
if that was something they needed, I'm not particularly familiar with the inner workings of the team, but if they did need, a strong main caller coming in on the medic class, then that could be, a big boost to them. And as I said, based on the tail end of last season, they had some, very, very promising performances. So while they have ended up, finishing quite low last season, now they're fighting for their place in these qualifiers. It does bode well for them. And, this is a unique situation where we've had these two back-to-back seasons only separated by that small Christmas break. So being able to come in, take that momentum rather than, turning all your players around, reforming a new project could be a big advantage for them as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like you didn't have that long of a cooldown period. You kept yourself warm. You didn't wait 3 months or something for a new season. Obviously, I feel bad for the league admins having to get everything organized so quickly, but it looks like they've gotten it underway. Let's talk about the AIM school as well, because as far as the rosters go for that team, it's it's pretty similar to last season when they played in Div 1. I'm pretty sure they didn't change too much overall, but they have Varnu and Yasti on the Scouts, Charlie and Troy on the Soldiers, Yak on the Demo, the anchor of the team that's been there since the very start of that team. Pretty much every other role has changed, and then rounding out, you've got Faust sitting in on the Medic.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It is a new team. They have been playing since pretty much the start of the year, so only a week or so they've been playing together. But on the other hand, it's a Yak team. You know what to expect. Yak has his very unique kind of play style that he's almost a tyrant that he enforces it in all his teams. I think the interesting thing to look at this team is the Yak and Charlie, probably the two biggest hitters in this team, and the two kind of talisman. Both kind of, not only do they share kind of the leadership qualities, they're also huge in terms of both play very, very aggressive style, and most of their teams have always been built around them in the past. So it might be a case of Charlie having to adapt his game a little bit, and change up his, he's got this this very unique style of he'll just go in, he'll take every fight, he'll sack his life away every opportunity, just to get as much damage down as he can and as much space as he can make for his team. Perhaps with Yak also being super aggressive, it'll either click perfectly, and just both of them will be nuking at every single opportunity, or it won't quite work as well, and maybe Charlie will have to adapt a little bit.
I mean, you need to consider, this is important, you need to consider on the team, it has an above average amount of British people on it. There's a tradition for that in ETF2L. The British teams, they always either work very well or, there's disaster sometimes afoot. But let's hope that that's not going to be the case here. I believe our maps are going to be, I can't check now because I closed Discord, but I think it was Gully Wash, Gully Process, and then Snake for Decider if we happen to go to a third map. So, Gully first, huh? What's that gonna be?
Yeah. I think it probably plays into Stevie Wonder's favour. Looking at the explosive classes, as I talked about Charlie and Yak being kind of big factors for them, you'd probably say Gully Wash is the map where those people have to pop up. Alex, Geordie, Silves, they can all do big work. Silves is just an airshot machine on Trust the Process. But I do like the fact that Trust the Process have lived true to their name and they did pick Process as their pick. So that's nice to see.
That is very important. I appreciate that a lot as well. Yeah, they need to just develop the process. They've probably been in the labs developing the process further that we've been praising so much towards the tail end of last season when they were really putting up a fight against the Frenchies for next to no reason because it's not like they were going to make playoffs. So you got to appreciate that they've probably been in the lab. They've been distilling that process down. They've been getting further into what the process exactly is. Nobody's ever exactly described what it is, right? Nobody's ever written down what this process we're supposed to trust is necessarily. So what's the process? What do you think is the process, Dave?
Again, as I say, I'm not particularly familiar with the inner workings of the team. I know, obviously a lot of these players played on the Theorists team back in the past, and they live true to their name of, I think, particularly Dowie as someone who comes up with a lot of these kind of wacky, out the park kind of theories on the game, and they talk about the game an awful lot. But it's the game has been fairly static for quite a while now. We haven't seen any team really bring, there's the odd innovation here and there, but essentially, with Valve barely updating the game, weapons not really changing very much, there's not really that much in terms of innovation to the game that we haven't really seen in the last few years. So I don't know how much the process they can really change or they can really trust, but maybe it's just a case of refining the same kind of game plan that pretty much the whole of Europe has been playing the last kind of 2-3 years or so.
Which is kill more than you die. Yeah, that works well. That entire question was just a trap to get you to spin me a conversation while we try to figure out how the hell we're gonna get the right STV for this game, because obviously the server we got off the bat was not the one that we actually needed. But while we think about that, if you had to make a prediction for this first map at the very least, people have already voted in the chat, and it looks like it's very one-sided. But what would your choice be of which team is taking home Gully Wash in the first few rounds here?
Based on the first, I mean, it's pretty close. You've got certainly Stevie Wonders have got perhaps bigger names, a bit more experience in terms of playing on slightly better teams. Most of Trust the Process have been kind of playing top Div 1 or low Prem for quite a while, and while they do have the familiarity, they have played together more. I think Stevie Wonder's aim school maybe can just bring it, and they haven't had the best results going through their logs. They haven't had the best scrim results in the last few weeks, but in this the warm up they actually did a lot better. So maybe they've finally worked out exactly how they play, and right at the last moment now, because the winner here does get into Prem, so it is crucial.
Oh yeah, of course. That's something you should probably want to do, right? Get into Prem. Give yourselves the chance of facing off against the other best players in the region currently playing, maybe of all time. You never know. I mean, you'd think that over time, the skill level of the average player increases and improves over and over again, right? So, would you? This is just a general lore question. Would you imagine that the average player has gotten better in TF2 now that the game has become so static and people have had a lot of time to really get to a level, a
Are we
top level?
talking? We're talking average, competitive player or average
It's
pubber?
average, obviously, average competitive, obviously.
I definitely think they've got better. They've got so many more tools to, watch and see what the top teams are doing. Uh, you can watch demos every day. There's so many people wanting to mentor in the community. You've also got, so many resources in terms of, uh, as I say, demos. And I just think, certainly, MGE and DM servers everywhere and Pugs, Pugs died a little bit, but now they seem to be back with the raw mixes. So I think the top teams have definitely, the players overall have definitely stepped up in terms of DM at least. Maybe not in brains.
Yeah, I mean, that's always subjective. As we're speaking, I will work my best to try and acquire an STV. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I was only hoping that this is going to be a close matchup. Chat loves Aim School, and as you said, Aim School seem to have the edge of whatever matters. But I'm hoping that we're gonna see a nice, even matchup, something that's very very fun to watch, and lots of air shots. You were saying there is an airshot machine. Don't trust the process in the name of it was Jordy. You said, right?
I said Silves, but I mean,
Sills,
Jordy
sorry,
hits
Sills,
some
yeah.
as well. Everyone at this level hits some air shots, but I think Silves is someone who certainly stood out to me as, a big gamer who always seems to have frag clips of him, always seems to be highlighted at, in those old TF2V threads with all the highlights. Silves always seems to just find these random rockets, and just when he's on his game, he smashes everyone.
Yeah. You're not wrong about that. You got to keep the real spin in here, man. I'm going around, running downtown, begging for the location of an STV.
Okay, well, I mean, one of the things we can go through is the teams who have already made it to Prem.
Oh, that's
So,
true. Yeah, there's.
yeah,
I
we've
mean, there's
got.
like 6 slots that need to be filled with the qualifiers, right? Something like that.
It's actually 3 of these 4. I mean,
Oh, okay.
Mandem we saw yesterday already made it through. The Germans have gone into the lower bracket. And obviously the winner here today between Trust the Process and Stevie Wonders, they go into Prem, and then the loser also goes into the lower bracket, and that will be, a last chance saloon really for them. They have to play against the Germans. The teams that have already made it, Witness Gaming, are coming back, champions from last season. Or Electro actually
Obviously.
dropped out. They didn't make it, so that obviously means there's a third slot here for the qualifiers. We've also got Foreskins who won Div 1 last season.
Right, so they get a free pass.
Yes. There's a new Jevon team that's formed. There's also now Evil guys who are, you might have known them as Ascent previously. They've got Pappy. I heard Gink was coming back, but I'm not 100% sure if that has happened or not.
Yeah, I
But
saw
he's
a
on the
post
roster
about
at
that.
least.
I saw a post about it. Like, aren't they gonna go to LAN as well? Some LAN at
Well,
least. I saw that. I mean, if it happens, obviously.
the idea was to go to Copenhagen, but obviously there's so many question marks over Copenhagen right now. Hopefully we can get as many of these top teams, because, along with them and also the old, what was the Nerd Rage roster, they're now under the name of Backyard Bullies. They're back as well, all those gamers. The only one missing actually is Josh, but he's been replaced by Celentes. So, Seeds is missing as well, but Celentes and Auto coming in for those gamers. Very very good kind of replacements, and the rest of the roster. You got Molexi, Gazi, Nubby, and Nazboy. That's a formidable roster, and it should be a really, really exciting season if we have, at the end of the day, 3 kind of real top teams that are former champions going head to head. It could be a much more exciting season, because it was a little bit disappointing last season. We ended up with kind of WG coming out, kind of ended up just crushing that grand final. Had a good kind of regular season from Aura, but they just couldn't compete once Winners Gaming really kind of took it to a different level.
Not to mention, too, the teams folding throughout the season, almost 3 teams folding throughout the season, you know. It'd be a fun season not only if there's a lot of competition at the top, but also, you know, none of those teams actually fold and they at least play the full season. That would be nice because it's a bit upsetting, you know, just upsetting to see when stuff like that happens because clearly, obviously, yeah, it happens because, you know, maybe the passion isn't there and all that stuff. I'm not going to pass judgment on anybody. That's always a bit sad, you know, because you miss out on so much fun stuff that you could be watching, I suppose.
Yeah, it also, you know, potentially screws up other people's seasons. I think we saw one of the teams drop who were, you know, decent kind of outside playoff contenders last season. They already picked up a couple of points. And when you do drop from particularly that position, it does make a bit of a difference. Tosses, you know, some stuff up in the air. You know, when we see teams kind of play 5 weeks, lose all their games, and then drop, it doesn't make as big a difference. It's a little bit more understandable. But certainly, you know, I think this season we seem to have a lot of teams who are very, very motivated. And I think the only, you know, obviously the wild card factor is the LAN. You know, will it happen? Will people not want to go because of the rental situation? That could be a thing where we see at least players dropping, if not teams. But, you know, as long as we keep all these teams and all these players that we have at the moment, it could be very, very exciting.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for this season. It's certainly looking a lot more competitive, even just from like the teams that are trying to qualify and all that stuff. So yeah, here's hoping that that's going to be a very competitive season. It looks like we finally have the ability to actually watch people play the game as well. So that's a good start. And finally, we're going to be looking at Gully Wash, the first of hopefully 2. Well, if you want to see a good match, hopefully 3, but, you know, 2 for the sake of sanity. Because the faster the game, the more, well, the less time I have to destroy my voice, I suppose. But either way, there's a match, and it looks like they're already starting right away as well. Wow, that's crazy. They're actually going. They're going. And it looks like they have a bit of a stand-in as well. I'm seeing Condog is actually playing for Stevie Wonder here on the medic. Unless somebody is fake nicking as Condog, which I hope they're not. But either way, mid is underway, and Left is the first person to die. He's been killed by Charlie, and that's the only thing that has happened thus far. You did not miss anything else. Teams are just looking at each other, but it looks like, oh, Stevie Wonder, they've just completely mulched the entire other team in choke there. They've completely caught them out, and they even managed to catch out everybody trying to, you know, backtrack, get them all caught up in that shutter door. Just absolutely dominant mid. They're already just shutting down lobby completely. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's about as decisive a mid as you could get, really. They just went across really, really early, completely shell-shocked. The team would trust the process. They might trust process. It doesn't seem like they're trusting their Gully Wash mids right now. They got completely wrecked on that first mid, and now they're having to hold a big, big disadvantage. We can just see the side of Stevie Wonders. They've built up their Uber. They're just waiting to get a little bit of information, and then they're going to be ready to push.
Yeah, well, they've actually got Hemp on the sniper. He manages to, you know, get Varnu as they push him with that Uber, but obviously Stevie Wonder are gonna push everybody else back into spawn. They're gonna lose Troy as well on the sideline. Jordy's gonna pick him up, and they're not gonna get any cap time down. With that Uber fading as well now, Af is gonna come out on that heavy and just push everybody else back. They only have a Yusti and Condog running away, trying to, you know, salvage whatever they have from that, you know, mediocre Uber push. Maybe a bit too indecisive, maybe a bit too slow, letting too many people live. Very well kited by the process as well, as they now cap off that second, find themselves on their own Uber, looking to push it to mid here, immediately in through choke. Troy gets caught out, and might very well die. He does indeed die there as well, so that's going to be an easy pick for them, and they still have that Uber as well, as Connor is still only halfway to his, so they're going to have a hard time even defending second here. I mean, Yak's trying his best to, you know, maybe shut down Big Door a little bit, but he's not going to be able to do much. They're just going to keep this rolling forward, and it's going to look like a coast-to-coast here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Troy was doing there, but he died very feebly on mid, and means there's no kind of roamer threat of getting the force out on the second point. They have bought enough time, just slowing down a little bit on second, that the Uber is now up for the side of Stevie Wonder. So both teams are in Uber, but they've actually been able to negotiate their way into the lobby here on this side of Trust the Process. So they're now in a position where they they've got the 100%. They can just sack as many players as they want to try and get their force out of the last. But one player they did sack was actually F, who went down to I think it was a sticky trap from Joseph or Yak. So they're just going to back up, play it nice and safe. Look how far back they are. They just played it really, really safe with that one gamer down, that one scout down. But he hasn't decided to come up on any off class, so still early days, still 0-0. So no one throwing real caution to the wind just yet.
Oh, and they're gonna drop Jordy to the next sticky trap immediately, as well as Charlie even checks for off classes. He's not gonna commit to that spy. I don't see it happening, but they're gonna pick up Troy on the other side. Goes for a bit of a sack of his own, gets picked up by Derpy there, trying to get push out. Yak very far forward in lobby as well, laying down some stickies, just maybe trying to shut people out for as long as he can, maybe buy a bit of space or time, who knows. Left is gonna take down a teleporter. Hey man, at least something's happening, as these teams are desperately trying to bust this up. I mean, the ball is absolutely in Trust the Process court here. They have to find a way to break this last hold. They certainly managed to send Af into water there. He's gonna slip below, but there should be a way. I mean, Charlie's on the case immediately, just shuts him down before he can even step more than a centimeter onto the point. So that problem is solved instantaneously, and now, well, there you have a bit of space here. Charlie's gonna go forward up the river together with Troy. Troy's gonna be the one that actually goes in. Obviously, jumping into two soldiers is quite deadly, but there was an attempt, I suppose.
Yep. Both the soldiers are standing and just eating pipes in river. Leth is obviously, I guess he's a replacement as well. We not see the Sylves today. Leth is going to try and jump in, but completely denied by a sentry. Geordie's going to actually possibly get caught. No. Charlie decided not to chase down that frag, so Geordie is still under here. He could put a bit of time on point or just provide a bit of a distraction, but again Af goes down. That's 3 or 4 times in the last couple of minutes that Af has gone down, and it's meant really let Stevie Wonders off the hook. Geordie eventually does go down under, but gets enough damage that it's going to be kind of difficult for Stevie Wonders to push out. With 2 players down, I don't think they're pushing out whatsoever.
Yeah, that would be an extraordinarily risky play. I mean, you could obviously do it if you want to catch your enemy off guard, and then probably also yourself as you suddenly see the round slip away from your fingers. But as it stands, the teams have reset once again, and no Ubers have really been used. I mean, Dowie did use at some point there, but at least he must have lost it in some way, because I didn't see anything happen, but he is not at 100% right now. So clearly something happened that was so inconsequential that absolutely nothing came of it, and it was not even worth noticing. Yeah, I mean, I guess they destroyed a sentry, because it is also level 1 again on last there, which naturally means that they had destroyed it at some point. But yeah, they're just setting up this defense again. The Uber is up again, so we might see an actual exchange coming out of this, as people are taking some space from Trust the Process. They're taking the lobby, spreading out. People are going down the river. Derpy's in the lobby alone, but he's got that shutter sticked up, so nobody's gonna slip past him for the time being. And they gotta make something happen here. Jordy slips into water. I don't think anybody really saw him either. It's gonna be sticks on point though. Yak has noticed those, and he's gonna take down Hemp as well, but they're gonna trade for Charlie. But then Jordy goes down as well, so the offense is already not looking that great. Troy manages to live in that tussle with Jordy as well. And they finally use the Uber to try and maybe get some ground here, but Left just gets juggled by the sentry, can't even really walk forward. The counter pop comes out as well, just to really solidify the hold for Stevie Wonder's aim school here, and they managed to even pick up Af on the way out.
Yeah, we talked about Dowie being, a real theorist, but I don't know what the theory is behind trading Ubers when you've got 2 players down, you're trying to push into last. I'm not exactly sure what the idea is behind there, but it seems we have a pause actually, so we can meditate on that a little bit longer perhaps.
An interesting idea. I'm trying to think how, because this is already developed into a stalemate, this game, right? We're 7 minutes in. We've been sitting at a last point for the last 4 or 5 minutes of that. So obviously, aim school, I have a hard time pushing out a last. Obviously, I don't fault them for not going off of an even players number last push. That's totally fine. But really, there've been a couple opportunities now by Trust the Process where I feel like they're trying to do one specific thing, they're trying to desperately get one player in behind, or maybe somehow have a soldier, someone get a pick, and actually come out on top of it, so that they can, go off the back of either that distraction or something like that to finally do the push. But what's been happening is just they send in Af or they send in Jordy, and then they die, and maybe trade at best, and then they're just waiting for them to respawn to try again. You know, that's all that's been happening for the past like 4 minutes.
Yeah, well, George's been going underneath, and he's been having, you know, at least success in getting underneath cleanly, not dying too early, and you know, when you are under like that, you can provide a little bit of a distraction and at least, you know, the threat of being able to play point. I don't know if he is on paid trade or not, but certainly there's at least a threat there. But we haven't really seen too much else. They've taken the sentry gun out, which does open a few more opportunities. Now a soldier coming in towards Connor, who goes really, really low, but hits a crucial baddie bind at the last second. And in fact, everyone on the side, it's actually a full wipe. They fully commit. All the frags go in the side of Stevie Winner's aim school, so they are going to take second. They are going to have actually a full Uber advantage as well. Connor just doing such a good job, providing balls of steel as he is served into... in fact, he probably didn't even have the Uber, but doing just a great job surviving, keeping himself alive, baddie biting to get the last second as he's on a sliver of health.
And suddenly, Stevie Wonder's aim school is looking like in a prime position here to maybe even convert around. I mean, that Uber ad is still sizable, and they're rolling their way into second already. Jordy there in the lower shutter trying to maybe deny people bid in big door. Obviously, they're all up top, seeing if they can at least slow down the aim school ever so slightly, but they're just being pressured out, and most of these aim school players are already in lobby, ruined to push into last. Obviously, they want to use that Uber as late as they can to get as much ground as they can, and Trust the Process have all just run into spawn. None of them are really blocking the point, at least they can't, and that's gonna be the round.
Yeah, very, very clean, just doing a good job coast to coast, taking the opportunity presented of them, and they're just nailing it, just... so
that
yeah,
was
it's going to be
that's
Stevie
the first
Wonders.
round for Stevie Wonder's aim school. After 9 minutes of basically sitting on their own last, all it took was a couple of mistakes by Trust the Process, and they have rolled it into their first little round here. Let's see if they can continue momentum, if Trust the Process finally finds some footing here on this second mid-fight as the teams make their way forward. Just a bit of jumping around left. Again, the first frag off the mid as he goes down to Troy. And now that is going to open up a lot of ground for C1's aim school. They're going to get onto Derpy as well, just clean up that kill as the rest of them are already running away from Trust the Process here. They do not want to really fight this anymore. At the very least, they're keeping their team alive this time. They're not wiping on mid. They're going to have Doey alive. They're going to have an Uber. They're going to have to hold last of it because they've given up so much ground. But at the very least, they have a good opportunity at not losing instantaneously.
Yeah, I mean, Leth actually hit a really, really nice rocket onto Troy there on that mid-fight, but it wasn't enough. He ended up losing that 1v1 despite hitting the air shot, so while he wins in the frag video, he loses in the game. Hasn't provided too detrimental. Justy and Leth going down one aside. Actually, Alex is going to get picked up by Varney just cheekily running in. It is traded out once more, so... You know, a couple of players going down opens up possibility for maybe someone going for a sack, but at the moment it seems Doey is going to be nice and safe just playing around shutter with enough gamers around him, a sentry gun quite nearby as well. So you can see actually on the side of Stevie Wonders, with them losing their players, trading those players out, they didn't want to continue to commit. They just backed up, played back on their heels and making sure they at least control the second point. But we are actually going to see a secret heavy coming up. There was a voice line coming out, but other than that, they probably aren't fully aware of the heavy. He is on the Tommy slab, so they probably won't hear him, but they have seen him now. He is up in this river area, just shooting people down with the Tommy slab. But we'll see if they can get a position where he can do something, maybe a dry fight.
You've already cursed him as he was getting spammed down by reflected rockets and everything in river. Desperately pulls out the banana to try and heal himself, but obviously that's going to be Varnu claimed for, well, for the respawn queue. I doubt he's going to spawn on heavy again. If he does, honestly, big respect. Nope, he's not. And in the meantime, Connor gets absolutely destroyed by Derpy. Just mulched. Unbelievable.
My god. The fear that Connor must have had in his head there, where they saw the engineer of Hemp running forward with the crits. He was probably looking at the engineer, but what he didn't see was the demo man Alex just coming forward with pipes as well, peeking out of main as well, picking up Connor there. That's going to be a big drop, so Doey now has 100%, has a big Uber advantage. They've been able to take themselves up to second. There's a bit of spam coming in from Choke towards Doey, but he's only taken a little bit of damage. He's nice and safe, and they do have this Uber now to push into mid here, Surny.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how they decide to use it. Obviously, they're gonna have to use through with so many people close to choke if they want to be able to get in at all. But then everybody's away so quickly. Charlie's the only player left behind, and he's basically just there to cause a distraction, which he's doing a grand job at, pulling back 3 players in total, just denying them of, laying any pressure onto the front line. And now they're gonna be able to cap mid off the back of it, but that's all they're gonna get. Every single bit of momentum that they could have had was completely stalled. And with Connor now coming up on his Uber again, he's going to have a good chance to take his team through the choke and do the exact same thing that just happened to them, that Trust the Process just did, except in reverse, because they have the better Uber. And the longer they wait here, the worse it gets, actually, as though he's building like a madman. He's almost there again, matter of fact. So I guess Stevie Wonders are just going to take it slow here. They are up around, so if they really want to play that type of game, they could play that type of game, I suppose. For the time being, it looks like they're not willing to take a risk of a push that isn't necessarily going to be in their favor, as they're not too aware of the positioning and all that stuff. And it looks like Trust the Process have decided they want to rotate to Big Door. Take it through the other side here. And assuming there's only a single scout watching right now, and Troy gets cleaned up as well as he's rotating through lobby. That's Ayusti taken care of as well. 2 players down, the flank completely demolished. This is going to be an interesting one. Jordy goes in, gets killed by Charlie though in the duel. They still have the player up, and if Trust the Process want to make use of their, well, okay position here, there's certainly an opportunity. They're taking their sweet damn time though of walking anywhere. I mean, they're getting spammed out from above, obviously, but nobody's trying to even take the high ground. Left is in behind, kind of. They get AF killed yet again in the lobby as well as they back out. Interesting. I don't really know what happened there.
Looked really good for a while, but now it's actually going to be Stevie Wonders in the ascendancy, going in, getting the foresight quite early. It's going to be a much better Uber here for the side of Stevie Wonders, but they do have 2 players down, and there is a soldier in the backlines who is a nice rocket onto one of the scouts. Usty's going to go down. Alex is traded out though, so no demo run for the tail end of that fight, but there's so many players here in the favour of Trust the Process. They just have so many more gamers. They have their heals still up as well, so they're going to be able to move through. They're moving through the big door with the heals. Just Troy providing a little bit of long-range spam, but despite the fact the Uber came out much earlier there for Trust the Process, they positioned themselves so well, they scattered so well that they got the much better of the post-Uber trade and just collapsed and crunched their opposition perfectly.
And it's going to work out in their favor as they cap second. They are still find themselves on a nice Uber ad here because Connor did die in that little tussle as well. So they find themselves in a good position here to try and take last. I mean, there is a level 3 sentry, but it's far back, even if it's guarded by a pyro. They certainly are in a good opportunity here. They're going to use that Uber through the shutter immediately. The sentry obviously putting down a bit of pain, and it's getting denied as well, any sort of spam. But still, they're going to push players back. They lose their Uber. They get a bit of cap time down as well, but there's Ayusti on the heavy. Connor's getting close to his Uber, so if he can't keep him alive, he can still use the Uber to protect the point. Yak, meanwhile, just kills pretty much everything on the point. It's demo v demo here, but one of them is shiny and cannot be killed. So Dowie is going to have to salvage what he can, as he's already running to mid, meeting up with his team again.
Oh, it ended up like a kind of demo man ulti there, just the demos and medics alive. But Alex, seeing what the kind of positive condition for him was, just getting the Uber out of Connor, Dowie's built himself a decent Uber advantage here, with Af going down again though, and Geordie going down as well. Now Leth is so weak as well, so slightly ropey position here for Trust the Process. But
Leth he did get Connor.
Launches himself in, gets Connor.
So fair enough, he made the most of what he could with as little HP as he had, and he manages to get a very crucial pick that's probably going to keep his team in this fight, because without that, I think this would have looked pretty bad for Trust the Process. But now they're going to have that full ad. They're going to be in a prime position. There's a couple of players defending. If they can, make sure they don't die to Charlie here, they've spotted him early enough before Dowie even comes through. They're going to kill him, take care of him. Yak, I mean, he's forward. He's probably watching some cheeky stickies, but ultimately he's not going to be able to do much either. He's actually going to die to Geordie as well, just being way too overextended. Very ambitious. The Uber comes into last already before the second is even capped. They're going fast on this one. The sentry is not even going to fight the... It's just going to swap to heavy on ASD there, but they're going to get so much cap time already. Just deny the players off the point. That's going to be a 1-all.
Yeah, clearly done, just killing the players underneath, stepping themselves on the point. The heavy, got a frag, but he wasn't going to be able to get and drop down and block the point in time, so just noticing that that was again their win condition, just flooded everyone on the point and capping it very, very cleanly. And yeah, very well done job. They took control of the fact that Charlie was sacking in the second, cleaned him up early, and you know, back to 1-1.
And that's going to be another mid-fight as we're halfway through the game, and it's looking like a toss-up for now. I was going to say it's looking dominant early for Trust the Process. They have gotten the frag onto Connor, so if Dewey can keep his players alive here, or much rather if his players can keep him alive, they're looking at a very good mid here. They're going to wipe Stevie Wonder's aim school and take the first mid of their own. For the first time, they did not lose one. They're going to roll it into second immediately as well with Derpy and Dewey, even building a little bit just to make sure they can get as much as they can out of this mid-win. They're certainly going to be able to take second here. I mean, at least put some pressure on it. And look, doesn't look like these Stevie Wonder players really desperately want to get out. They're going to send players up top, but they might not be able to deny the point fully. They're going to send them then deep, man. They're going to actually get the force off onto Dewey as well. A beautiful bomb by Charlie. Pogo's off of his head, basically, just to force him out. So that's going to be putting Stevie Wonder in a great position now, actually, because Dewey is the last player to die, and he even dies to Connor. That's just the end.
Yeah, disappointed to see such a good change up on mid to go up their opponent's side, you know, changing up from a kind of default mid that was not working for them whatsoever. But they throw it away on second by just everyone playing on the low ground, just getting crunched by the side of Stevie Wonders, who all came in off the high ground, just launching themselves into the opponents. Even though the force came out, that there's just so much focus fire down onto so many different players stuck in bad low ground positions, and now we have a huge uber advantage for Connor, and it's going to be Stevie Wonders looking to put themselves back in the prime position.
Yeah, they're going to use that. They're going to use that shininess immediately through a river. That sentry gets taken down instantaneously, and nobody's even really around to block the point. I mean, they're going to get F out onto the heavy here. Jordy's doing his absolute best denying the point as well. F is actually getting a lot of frags as well, cleaning up a lot of damage. Hemp is going to get a kill there as well. They're only left with Yak and Connor, and obviously the former just dies trying to maybe get onto the point in a desperate attempt there, while the latter is already out to mid. So just a beautiful hold there by Trust the Process, kiting the Uber masterfully, really, and then cleaning up the players that aren't caught in the shininess.
Yeah, they just had a good combination of having the heavy weapons, but also having players in place to block the point as well, so they did a good job. And Dewey, crucially, coming in clutch at the end there, just dodging Yak, who was diving straight into him. They're already taking it through into mid. The Ubers come straight out. They're not going to be able to chase down any frags. Charlie and Troy are both going to get out of those. So while they do take control of mid, we are in a leapfrog situation. This time, Stevie Wonders have all 6 of their gamers alive, so they are going to be able to take it straight in when they choose. Just waiting up 99 now for Connor. They're going to go through drop down.
Ooh. Interesting idea. It's certainly going to catch these Process players off guard a little bit. I mean, they're actually going to try to send as many people as they can down big door. Both soldiers going in deep there. Left already taken down. I mean, F was there as well, actually. It was 3 players. Jordy's the only one left alive. He's pulling back a bit of attention there. He's fighting Charlie. But ultimately, that's not going to stop the cap on mid from happening. And Connor didn't even have to use yet, so they're still going to be rolling this forward. They're already on second as well, with next to nobody contending. I mean, slowly Trust the Process rolls in. They use their Uber as well to try and contest the point. They manage to do it before it gets capped off. Obviously, Connor has a slightly better Uber for his team here as well, so Trust the Process pretty much stuck in between a rock and a hard place. They either have to back out or try to fight the post Uber, and it looks like they're not doing a good job at fighting the post Uber right now. They're already down 3 players. They've only picked up Charlie way earlier, and yeah, they're gonna lose second and have to run away if they want to try and hold last here. Dewey also finding himself dangerously low, getting peppered down by Yusty, just barely managing to stay alive as there's already so much cap time. That's gonna be another round going the way of Stevie Wonder's aim school.
The scout combo of Justy and Varney were just linked arm in arm, shooting the same targets, doing a great job in that post-Uber situation. And crucially, you can see the difference from the last time Trust the Process were in second, where they took very, very bad low ground positions. This time, Stevie Wonders in a similar kind of position post-Uber, but they had much, much better position on the high ground, and their scouts were much, much closer together, and they just did a beautiful job of surviving it.
Well, let's see if they can continue rolling this forward, taking that map home, or if Trust the Process can back into the game. Certainly, as it stands right now, this mid is not going in their favor. They've already lost both soldiers and Derpy. They've traded for both soldiers on the other side as well, but 2 scouts is not going to be easy to fight with when you're already on the low ground and already on the back foot here as they're making their way back into their own lobby. And Stevie Wonder's aim school just dominantly just keep rolling forward here. I mean, they've capped second off. It looks like Dowie really wants to go for the exchange here again. He might even be the first to use yet again. They're certainly gonna try to fight this on second. They lose Jordy very early, then the Uber comes out. It's obviously a slightly bit earlier from Dowie there, and it's gonna be good enough for Stevie Wonder to just chase everybody back into last. Now they're gonna find themselves on last, trying to fight this as best they can. They have a few stragglers there, you know, Varnu and Troy trying to be cheeky. They're up early, but ultimately, yes, he just slips into through water, kills so many people on point already. Yak is there with the cleanup as well, and there's only one lone heavy in Hemp left. He has to somehow fight 3 people here, one of which is a medic. I mean, okay, he gets Yak. It's actually kind of close, which is very scary. I mean, Connor almost got the kill there. Charlie ultimately managed to evade for long enough and get that kill. That's going to be a quick 3-1. It's looking like they're running away with it.
Yeah, they just seem to have slightly more poise in those crucial situations. Somebody who had a lot of poise there was Connor. Had the option to, you know, arrow his demo man Yak to get him up to health and have him take the fight the heavy, but decided better of it, just decided to keep arrowing at that lone heavy that was, you know, on the point, trying to just provide the final block. Yak did end up going down, but there was just enough gamers with Connor coming in at the end to convert it. Now it's 3-1.
Yeah, and it looks like this is going to be really tough on this as well, like on this mid fight as well for Trusted Process. They lost Dowie already. Obviously, they're putting a lot of pressure onto Connor now. They managed to finally get him down, but they've committed pretty much every player for it. Somehow still coming out on top. Only Yak left alive, and they're going to send in, well, you know, deny him for a while, but like try not to lose too many people to him. Finally taking him down as well. So they're going to take the mid here, and they're actually going to come out on top kind of, because Dowie gets the faster spawn. He's going to be building slightly faster, but there's no way they were going to be able to contest second whatsoever. I mean, Charlie's doing his best to just buy some time here as well. The rest of his team coming out, and Varnu actually up on the sniper as well. Maybe if he can get a cheeky shot off here, that's going to be enough to seal this already. They're going to get Dowie as well. Troy, just a beautiful bomb in. He's going to be able to take Dowie down. That's completely going to thwart this push. Nobody's going to want to do much after that. I mean, sure, they're going to take second, but they won't be able to hang on to it for long.
Yeah, that's the second time now we've seen Dowie hanging out under that balcony area on the second, and I really don't like that position as a medic. Like, it's okay, perhaps, if you have complete control of the riverside, but, you know, the Stevie Wonder gamers were all there, sat on bats. Even the soldiers were getting buffed up, so as soon as a soldier comes in, the high bomb lands on you when you're under that balcony, there's really nowhere good to kite. He ended up trying to kite towards Big Door, but the soldier was able to get 3 rockets down on him, and that was enough. Hasn't ended up too bad. Connor's, you know, built up the 100%, but it's going to be kind of difficult for them to push out. And with a 3-1 lead and 5 minutes left, there's really no reason to push out.
Yeah, and if you trust the process here, I mean, they're already kind of banked on Jordy. He's on the spy right now. He's managed to slip in, but I am very sure Stevie Wonder are very much aware. I mean, I saw Charlie on the spy earlier, is checking now. Obviously, you have the pyro there as well, just checking every single corner. Yusty finds him as well, so that's the Jordy spy play immediately denied. And now you're like, okay, you got 5 minutes, you're down 2 rounds. You gotta start throwing something at the wall to see what sticks, because at this point, you've gotta try to bust this last hold. It's even Ubers. You're in a very rough situation. Charlie's already like so diligent as well, checking again on spy, seeing if there's any form of off-classing going on, just to make sure none of that shenanigans is gonna be meeting them, naturally, because we're going cookie cutter for the offense side here, but they have to find an opening into this last, because it's a tough one to crack. And if they don't get this going, if this is a repeat of what we saw in the first round, then this is going to be very, very rough for Trusted Process if they want to have a chance at taking home Gully. They're going to be adding a couple of soldiers on the point here, and actually a lot of cap time because of the pain train there on Jordy. That's a lot of cap time. It's going to pull a lot of people back. They haven't even taken down the sentry yet. They've lost 2 players with Jordy and Af, but only trading 1 for Charlie. They're going to take down the sentry as well for the time being, but with that much cap time, they can certainly try to make a play for the point as soon as their players are up here again. It's going to be interesting what they decide to do. They're just going to take it in with the Uber through Riverside immediately, obviously try to send people onto the point. Hemp just gets them destroyed by that sticky trap, and ultimately everybody else is going to have to run away as the counter Uber by Connor was just in a much better position. Charlie tries to go in deep as well, doesn't manage to get onto Dowie just enough though. And that's gonna be even rougher now for Trust the Process. Come on. What are you gonna do? Oh, jeez. It's rough. Jordy's behind the point again. He gets a lot of cap time. That paint train is pulling so much weight right now, but ultimately that sentry is just mulching anybody that decides to walk in. They finally take it down, but they've already lost 3 players. Make that 4 with Af taken down as well. Everybody bunch up on the point. Not even Derpy can do much there. Charlie's already in as well. He managed to get Doughy. He manages to get Derpy. Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah, they can't seem to just find really exactly what they wanted to do on this last. They did a good job getting cap time, but there's really not too much else happening. They're not getting the sentry gun down before, they're not getting any pressure down onto Connor when it comes in, and Connor was just so free to pop that when the trade came in. He just popped a counter Uber straight in there to block the points. So at the moment, it just seems that Stevie and his aim school have every answer that they need.
Yeah, they've got Gully Wash on lockdown, and now they're just driving home. They're kicking some dust in the face. I mean, they're using that Uber on mid just to really get out again. They managed to cap it off. They're gonna lose it now, but ultimately, they've basically already won the round. I mean, it's gonna be extraordinarily tough for Trust the Process to convert these, like, 2 more rounds in 2.5 minutes. It's certainly possible, but it is very, very tough. And with how much they've been struggling, it's gonna be even harder. Plus, there's a banner now out of the side of Stevie Wonders here with Troy. He's got the battalions ready. So even though they don't have an Uber yet, they're going to be going up against one. Actually, it's going to be crits. So the battalions is even more useful. Absolutely denying the crits. Completely useless. Neutralized to a T. As it read like an open book.
That is just such a good play coming out of Troy to pick up the battalions. Whether it was luck or just beautiful kind of prediction there. The battalions coming in clutch, completely denying the crit squeak. They're still committed though. They're going to get the Uber out of Connor with a big jump coming in from Geordie, I believe. He's actually going to sneak himself under as well. He's actually left, sorry. But yeah, Geordie's still hitting some nice directs there onto Yak. But he's eventually going to get cleaned up, and there's still a heavy weapons guy. And with, you know, a minute 30 remaining, they have to get in, get this cap pretty much immediately. They're going to have to. They actually have a crit squeak coming up very, very shortly. Maybe it's a last chance.
It's certainly an opportunity they have if they can keep Doughy alive. He's just going to get pincered by both scouts, though, so that is not going to happen. And with Jordy and Lep as the only players left alive, even on Trust the Process, neither of them really in a position to make any sort of play happen. I believe this is what you call a sealed deal, and garbage time is upon us, so I hope we see a Huntsman Sniper.
Yeah, that'd be nice to see. We haven't seen... I don't think we've barely seen a sniper at all from either team, let alone Huntsman.
Oh my god! Oh my... Did you just see Doughy get destroyed by the cone stickies? Because that just happened.
Yeah, he got juggled around. It's really, really unfortunate. Obviously not too meaningful at the end of the day. Connor's going to pop up the but not even flash his gamers. Keep a couple of them alive, but, you know, again, we see a pretty decisive team fight. Decisive, if not, you know, impactful, important. But we're going to see the taunts coming out now, and yeah, good. You know, not only a good, clean kind of map win here, picking up the first map of this best of 3 here for Stevie Wonders, but, you know, a big kind of confidence boost as well. As I said, they hadn't had the best scrim results going in, but had a really, really nice warm-up, and now been able to convert it into this beautiful first map here. Very, very well played.
Yeah, that's going to be the first map taken home by Stevie Wonder's aim school. But I believe this was also their pick, right? So, yeah, this was their pick. So, you know, to be expected, you could say. To be expected. But we'll see if Process goes any differently. I mean, that's, as far as I'm aware, that was Trust the Process's pick and all that. So, maybe it's going to be their map. It's in the name. Obviously, if you're rooting for them, you want them to win here. Let's quickly, as these keen gamers are probably looking to go on insanely fast. Let me just see if I can find the logs for that match. I have found them. All right. So let's look at some quick numbers here. And so as you can immediately see, there's a one-sided story here being told.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, it's 3-1 the scoreline. It's actually 106 to 81 frags, so a big, big frag differential here for the side of Stevie Wonders, and coming in with a big Mercurial performance, Yak 29 to 10 and 340 DPM, just putting his team on his shoulders and absolutely carrying. That's a huge performance from him. And that, you got to really say, looking at the rest of the logs, he was the big difference maker.
I mean, yeah, that KDA as well as demo there. I mean, obviously Charlie, as you mentioned as well, also just a damage maker. He cracking the 300 mark as well, right? It's as that's what you said at the start. Yak and Charlie probably going to be the playmakers for their team here, and it is certainly what has happened. They are the ones with a lot of impact, at least in terms of the damage they're putting out, and in terms of Yak also how much he's staying alive, even though apparently he was getting sabotaged and Connor was letting him die, as we saw with that third round they took. It's still he still manages to stay alive a lot and just deal a lot of damage. And I think that's probably what it is, like the fact that he stays alive so much. I mean, compared to Derpy, he went 1-0 with his KD, He died for every time he managed to do something. He didn't have nearly as much room as Yak got.
Yeah, certainly a different style. We could see Yak pretty much leading from the front every single opportunity. Often he was the first gamer in through the choke into second, just locking gamers down. And taking a lot of heals for it, but getting a lot of work done, a lot of damage, a lot of kills. ALX played a bit more of a support role. You're doing a decent job. Certainly, only got caught a couple of times by Vanu, but other than that, a solid job overall. But at the moment, it just seems that there's really no answer from the side of Trust the Process to the aggression that comes out of Yak every time they just want to plow forward.
Yeah, they seem to be getting thwarted by that a lot. I mean, also on Goalie War specifically, right? The indecisiveness and the just sheer, like, I feel like almost confusion as to what they're supposed to do on pushing last. Like they're just not being able to mount any form of push, or not really figuring out how to crack that push open quickly enough, that hold open quickly enough. Really, just that really sealed it for them there. They managed to win one round. I don't even know how or what the what the play there really was. I think they just had a very nice clean way in from second. But yeah, it's gonna have to look different on Process. They're gonna have to be able to convert their plays more, right? That's what they're really struggling with so far. They need to be able to somehow convert those pushes and not somehow lose the push even if with an uber advantage and stuff like that.
Well, they only engineered themselves a couple of advantages, and the couple of times they did, obviously they failed one of them as well. I'd say the big thing was they weren't confident on their default mids. They weren't confident in breaking the last stalemate either. So when those two things are going against you, it's going to be difficult for you to make a difference on the map, and unless you're just completely outskilling the other team. As we can see, these teams look pretty evenly matched, at least in skill level. It's just a little bit more impetus coming out of the side of Stevie Wonders, and being a little bit more, I think, just having a few more ideas that are a bit more fleshed out. I think we can see some of the ideas that are coming, particularly towards breaking that last from Just the Process. They weren't perfectly refined. They didn't have all their gears in order, and it really wasn't working. But as we say, there wasn't a huge difference between the teams in terms of overall kind of team play or anything like that. So this might be a case of we going on to a different map, and it might be a more refined map for Trust the Process. So it could be a different story.
I mean, yeah, like Process in comparison to Goalie Wash, traditionally a bit more scout friendly. The scouts pull a bit more weight on this map. Obviously, it's open for sorters to jump, but that also makes scouts so much more dangerous on this map as well. So maybe just Goalie just isn't like Af and Hem's map, right? Maybe they just they're not going to do that well on it, but maybe they absolutely adore Process. It's in the team name. I probably made that joke like 3 or 4 times by now, but maybe it's going to be making the difference here. Maybe they're going to be really able to shine now, pull up some slack, put up some weight on their own, and contribute more to their team now and be able to make that difference. Pull that second map in and take it to the decider, because as it stands, I feel like it's gonna actually be kind of tough. Because Stevie Wonder looking so unbelievably dominant, at least going out of goalie wash there. And if they can keep the momentum going here as well, as it looks like we're even getting started, players have readied up and they are rolling out to our first mid fight. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they can keep that momentum going on the side of Stevie Wonders, or if, you know, Trust the Process find their way into this match now that they're on their map pick, and that they're on the map that is giving them their name. If they're going to have a different approach here. As it stands, obviously the mid pretty slow. Both soldiers going for a nice early bomb. They're onto Doughy though. Obviously they're going to lose both of them, and Varnu as well. Yes, he goes dangerous low, and Yak as well. Connor basically left alone, getting chased down by Jordy, and they only lost Doughy in that mid, so maybe Mulligan, your medic, is fine if you win the mid off the back of it with a wipe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the soldiers Troy and Charlie were just perfectly in tandem going and getting Doughy, but they were cleaned up so quickly. I was really impressed by Trust the Process, how quickly they were able to clean up those two soldiers. Not quickly enough to save Doughy. That's not going to happen when those soldiers are flying in just so perfectly in tandem like that. But, you know, they just cleaned up those couple of frags and then were able to plough forward. Had such a huge player advantage, and Connor was still stuck far forward with no scout to escort him out either. So at the end of the day, they're going to have a better spawn here on Doughy. Slight uber advantage. They're waiting around a little bit. They have to build up very optimally if they do want to make a push on this. But at the moment, I think they're maybe just going to settle for second and maybe look to break a stalemate. Although maybe not. Who knows?
They're slowly maybe trying to take some ground in lobby. Obviously, you know, very far forward. Charlie's gonna at least slow them down for a bit. Not gonna die, fortunately. And Ayesti's also on the snipers, so he's gonna be a scary force to be reckoned with here, because he can shut down one of those doors, and if he gets his crosshair onto Doughy, that's gonna be disastrous for Trust the Process. Doughy, obviously, seemingly aware that there might be a sniper watching him down right now. They've seen the dot, they've seen the sniper standing in the corner on last, so they are aware. They should be a bit more careful around these lobby doors here, and Ayesti, realizing that, is probably also getting a bit more aggressive, seeing if he maybe can get any form of angle. As far as the defense is concerned as well, obviously Connor basically hiding in the dispenser, you know, the classic spot. He's perfectly holed up in there, and it's really gonna be in Trust the Process somehow finding like a nice opening pick here that they can actually use to get in. And obviously Ayesti is just having a nice time sniping. There's not really a huge risk associated, you know, especially with how much ground Trust the Process are giving Stevie Wonder's aim school right now. They're just like, he can walk so far forward in lobby, there's nobody really contesting him. Jordy's like the only player consistently contesting him. And even he, you know, has to back out sometimes. Troy's gonna jump in to see if he can get... that's Charlie, not Troy, my bad. Getting names already mixed up from different teams even. My lord. Yeah, he's gonna, you know, move forward a little bit. See if he gets something done. Obviously, that's not gonna happen. Now, a sack like that on your defense, especially when you're now gonna lose your other soldier as well, is a bit questionable. Jordy's gonna try to go in. Gets mulched by the sentry naturally. Yak actually going quite low, because there's still a scout on the side as well. A little bit of peppering. But ultimately, that sentry is dangerous. Yusti's gonna get down left here as well, so that's gonna immediately equalize stuff again, and they're gonna have to give up lobby.
Yeah, I think they won't be too disappointed. There's clearly an idea that they want to bait the sniper Yusti into lobby, and then, you know, pressure off the back of that, but Yak's actually taking a lot of space in lobby as well, just trying to get as many stickies up as possible, and that makes it a little bit more freedom there for Yusti to just snipe away with that added little protection area. He's got Charlie as well now with him as well, so it's going to be difficult for them to really rush down that sniper. Yusti playing quite smart, rings off another headshot there. So while we see the side of Trust the Process looking to take control of lobby, it's not a safe space for them. Once more, Charlie getting two now. ALX and Hemp both big picks there, so potentially even a push out with Varnu swapping off that engineer onto the scout class so they can push out to second.
Oh yeah, they're immediately taking that momentum forward. Charlie just making the play yet again. They're gonna lose Yak in the scramble here a little bit, so they're gonna be lacking some of their damage. Jordy might use the opportunity to try and get a bit more forward. Ayesti's staying on the sniper as well. Jordy ultimately chooses not to fight it as they lose AF to the sniper as well. But they're not done fighting this yet. Trust the Process, they do want to fight this. They're going to use their Uber. Doughy actually going dangerously low. They're going to pick up Troy as well, and Charlie. So they're getting at least a few frags in here, even in the Uber scramble, as Connor basically just uses to get himself out of there in as safe a manner as possible. So they're gonna find themselves now recapping second, 2 players up as well. So that's quite a significant advantage to have trying to get into last year. Varnu's gonna be on the heavy, seeing if he can lay down some damage. He manages to basically pepper down left. The kills obviously gonna be cleaned by Ayosti, and they're gonna manage to get Connor and Yak on the defensive side. That is a huge frag. Even if they wipe here, at least they buy themselves another opportunity. That's not going to be that bad. Af getting a lot of cap time as well, pulling those players back, making sure, you know, they're not going to get out there on second too quickly. Maybe giving his players, his team, more of a chance to actually spawn forward. And, well, at least half the team does, maybe even more. Yeah, no, they're going to get forward spawns, all of them except for Af. So they might even contest this on second here if they're absolutely insane enough. If they're bonkers enough, it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Charlie is in behind Al-Qaeda, but he's going to get cleaned up as well. But they've already lost Left and Jordy again. Both of them bombing in deep to see if they can make something happen. Obviously, they didn't, but an opportunity was taken, so you can't blame them for it. As it stands, though, now trust the process. They're going to have to back out to mid here. Potentially even keep backpedaling. Dowie already very low. He's going to have to get healed up as well. And naturally, the crits come out of Connor as well. I think that's just going to pressure everybody back. They're going to get Af with it. They're going to get Hemp with it as well. Massively placed stickies. Left is going to get cleaned up. And that's going to be mid taken for Stevie Wonder's aim school.
Yeah, they've got the Uber coming up shortly for Dowie, but no gamers to pop it onto, so they're going to have to go back all the way towards their own rollout or shutter. And we can see here the side of Stevie Wonder's just slowly walking their way in. Connor playing nice and safe in the choke. The Uber does come out. Alex trying to chase him into it. He actually catches out Joseph and
God.
Connor. Gets a flash at the end to save himself from the scout Varnu as well. They clean up Troy. Varnu does come in and pick up Dowie at the tail end of it. But the end of this scrappy little DM fest, it's going to be actually trust the process, getting the better of it from what looked like a really, really shaky position. But Alex just absolutely beasting and smashing everyone with the, as he kind of extended himself out of that Uber.
Yeah, just barely like making, you know, use of the range there. Barely like the tip of the spear, basically. Staying alive with a nice flash as well. It's gonna be enough to keep them in this game. They're gonna be able to cap mid off the back of it, and they're not gonna find themselves in too bad of a situation. Ubers are basically equal, and they're in an aggressive situation here. They're gonna try to make a push happen. I mean, still, like, we've seen almost no off classes coming out of the side of Trust the Process here, so maybe, you know, now that you're in a stalemate, this is gonna be a nice situation where you could try to switch it up a little bit if you want to, or you can just try to send in, you know, send in Jordy, send in Left, see, try to, you know, normal stuff, see what sticks. As it stands, they're certainly in a nice position to try something here. They're actually building a lot slower. I think because Connor is still on crits. No, he's not. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Because Connor was building so much faster.
That's what I was going to say. With the crits, there had to be in the back of their mind that a crits play could potentially have come out there. Particularly with Connor spawning a little bit before Dowie, but now they do have up to 100%, so they do have a bit of safety. They've probably spotted the Australian minigun as well, so they probably know Connor is back on Uber. Jordy and Af have gone down. The Troy did for Joseph, Yak and Troy. So 2 down a piece. Uber does here come out of Dowie. Connor is just nice and far back, not going to have to use the Uber. So they're probably just going to wait for Yak to get back in the action, and then they're going to be able to take it through. It looks like they're going through IT as well.
Yeah, that was a beautiful just there. Troy slips past Choke, manages to force off Dowie now, putting his team in a great position to try and retake mid here. The positions aren't amazing, and Connor's actually going to get caught out on the rock as well. Does not choose to pop, and unfortunately he's going to drop his Uber yet again. That's going to be pretty bad for Stevie Wonders, because now, well, you're not just down your mid, you've just given up your Uber advantage, the biggest ace you had up your sleeve, and you're down half your team. You gotta get out to last if you want to have any chance of even staying in this match right now, or in this round. You're gonna have to try and set up whatever you can on last, because there is an angry Trust the Process team staring you down, trying to go up for the first time in the entire series, and they're looking at a prime opportunity to... Ayosti's up on the sniper as well, but they're gonna pop early. They're not gonna let that guy do anything that he wants to here. No headshots for you, and they're gonna get a bit of cap time going as well. But ultimately, they've only really found 1 kill so far. They found Troy as the Uber has faded. Now there's a heavy on the point with a lot of stickies as well. There's nobody close to the point where you get cap time. They finally focused on the heavy. They managed to take on Charlie as well. Varnu is very low, so he's not going to be able to do anything. And that's going to be enough pressure on the point to finally cap it off.
Beautifully done, just spreading out, isolating certain players, picking them off. separating, you know, so the heavy's going to have to shoot several different angles. Geordie doing a great job in secret. But that all came down to the mid. They won that mid from a disadvantaged position because they got so much spam from the explosive classes into IT. They completely crushed the opposition. Everyone was scared. They backed up. Connor ended up dropping, and they got the round off the back of just beautiful spam into IT.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the first round, the first time actually Trusted Process go up in this series and into the second mid. They're looking at trading some players here. They're gonna get a valuable pick onto Yak, a valuable trade, so a lot of damage missing for Stevie Wonder's aim school, but they've already lost both of their scouts as well now. Doesn't matter, ALX is just gonna lay down some pipe, clean up 2 quick scouts just on his own. So suddenly they're finding themselves in a pretty even situation again. However, Troy is gonna go for Dowie here. He doesn't quite get the air shot, and he actually gets bottled down as well, just for the BM. ALX is gonna keep rolling forward. Oh my lord! Oh my lord! That's a dead Connor.
Yeah, that was some bravery from Connor. He came so close to sniping Dowie off with a long range little crossbow, but it wasn't enough. He ended up overstaying his welcome too long. The spawners there for the side of Trust the Process came in much quicker. The soldiers rolled out perfectly, and they just came forward and nuked Connor down, and now they're in a great position. They've got control of this second area. They haven't captured up just yet, but they have a huge uber advantage. Just have to deal with the Justy sniper maybe on last.
Yeah, if they can manage to not drop to him, which it looks like they won't because he's already running away. They've used early again just to make sure of that as well. His second hasn't even capped it. There could have been so much cap time. So actually, maybe a little bit too fast for Trusted Process, but they're still putting out so much cap time because there's no sticks on the point. Finally, obviously the Uber has faded, so they can deny a couple of players that walk onto it, but they still have a bit of contention potential here. It doesn't look like they're going to try to use it. They're going to wait on second instead, as they know these Stevie Wonder players have tasted blood. They want to keep rolling forward, and they're just going to pressure out everybody from the side of Trust the Process. Back to mid you go. Now with that full Uber that Connor has here as well, they're probably going to use to solidify this mid push if they so desire. Gonna be looking good for Stevie Wonders taking it forward. I mean, they're just putting on so much pressure, and they can't really contest at all Trust the Process here. I mean, they're trying their best. Jordy manages to slip past and force off Connor at the very least, but they've already given up mid as well now. They have to somehow hold on to their second now, but it's gonna be tough as Yak bombs in and hits at least one little bit of damage onto Dowie. So much stuff just being thrown at Dowie here. They're somehow evading everything. He eats a direct from Charlie as well, still alive. This man is insane. He's not wearing the crash helmet for no reason. Jesus.
Yeah, I have to say Dowie's looking a little bit sharper mechanically than Connor is right now. Connor just eating all the spam at long range. Gets forced off the back of it, and Geordie doing a nice play. But Dowie just doing a great job of preserving his Uber. They're now able to rush into second here. They might catch Justy as well. Will escape. No, he won't escape. He will get cleaned up. Vardu, Troy, Justy, 3 picks now. Second cap hasn't quite come in, but they're going to be able to move it into second. Surely they're not going to make the same mistake and be able to get their position in. They don't even have to use Dowie's milk this Uber for so long. No threat of the sniper, so they're already in. Second cap is now in. Gamers on the point. Not enough spawners here for the side of Stevie Wonder, so Trust the Process are now up 2-0.
Though he didn't even have to use for that entire push. I mean, Yak was just desperately trying to lay down a perimeter just to keep himself safe. But what can you do when you have 4 players running you down? And then all ALX did was just already spawn camp, you know, make sure that nobody's coming out of that door and basically seal the deal with it entirely. So that's going to be Trust the Process going up 2-0 on Process as we're heading into a third mid now. Almost halfway through the map as well. We could be looking at a little bit of a halftime here. Varner's gonna pick up the first kill of this mid though for Jordy. They're gonna trade it in for Charlie, but then Varner and Troy get cleaned up as well. Connor goes flying. He's now on the other side of the mid here on the rock as Yak gets met by Left, and now Connor gets cleaned up as well as he gets met by the scouts. So, oh, rough one yet again.
Connor doing everything he could though. I might have been a bit harsh on him in the previous round, but doing a great job surfing his way onto rock. But when your medic is separated like that, he's not pumping the heals out to the rest of his team, and what probably would have been a lost mid-fight anyway was made harder because of it. We're now seeing scrapping onto second here. It seems that they really want to take this fight. They're actually going to pick Geordie up here, so, you know, with 2 picks, one favour in the favour of Here, Stevie Wonder's actually going to drop Yak as well. So much fighting, it's completely dry. They're committing super, super hard, but it seems Trust the Process just have more gamers next to each other. They're going to be able to chase in towards second. Going to pick Charlie up as well, just every single time the scrappy fights happen. It seems the cohesion here on the side of Trust the Process is much, much better on this map. They're focus firing better. They're picking off isolated targets, and at the moment they're very, very much in the ascendancy.
Yeah, they're definitely running the game right now. They're driving the bus, as you could say. They're certainly trying to take this into last yet again. They have lost ALX. They have lost their demo man here, so it's going to be a bit tougher. They've lost Jordy as well. And Dowie, again, milking that Uber as much as he can. Ultimately deciding not to use as he's dropped too many players. But they've managed to kill two. And, you know, with the Heavy having to switch back as well, they're going to be slow enough on the side of Stevie Wonders that they can still definitely contest second here, even if a bit delayed. The Ubers being equal is going to be the scary part here for Trust the Process, because now Connor is taking his team in deep, and actually he's just going to drop Yak, as he is threatened to do many a time. He uses a bit too late. Going to have to use that Uber to flash the rest of his team here. Obviously, Dowie's going to have a way better Uber charge. They're going to take that forward. They're going to clean up a couple players. They already cleaned up Connor, cleaned up Ayesti and Varnu as well. Obviously, Yak was already dead, just now respawning. Both of the sorters on last as well. They're going to have to try to hold this last. There's already a demo man. There's already ALX. He's eating a lot, trying to do a lot, but he's been pulling his weight certainly a lot more here. And that's going to be just so much carnage on the point. Yet another round.
Yeah, high-risk gameplay coming out there from the side of Stevie Wonders. Just Yak wanted to take an even Uber trade into mid, and Connor just wasn't quite with him that time, and, you know, ends up dropping him. A great bomb from left at the end of that second fight, just laser guided, finding Connor as he was trying to escape, and just beautifully converted. So much more cohesion here from Stevie Wonders. From Trust the Process. They just look much, much better than this map.
Yeah, they've certainly been performing well. Now up going up 3-0. It's certainly looking like a dominant game the other way as this next mid goes underway as well. They've already picked up 2 kills again. They've only lost left so far. Yak getting taken down as well. Now Connor, no heals for Charlie or Varnu for the rest of this mid fight if they want to make anything happen. I mean, Charlie has slipped behind. He's going to get a kill onto Jordy, but now he's met with 2 scouts and a demo man, so he's just going to choose to run away. He's not going to fight that. That's a very astute choice to make, as he's going to meet up with the rest of his team. Maybe try to hide, go for a cheeky bomb if possible. But ultimately, they're going to have to back out to last completely for aim school here and make the most of what they can. They've already lost their Uber ad. They could have, or like, you know, the even Ubers they could have possibly had. So, yet again, Trust the Process looking very dominant, trying to take this into last once more. Making some room in lobby potentially, you know, taking it slow, making sure everything's up to protocol, following the flowchart of making sure you get in here cleanly, and that's gonna be what they do. They use early again just in case there's a sniper, and they've made the right choice. Sentry gets taken down immediately. No cap time just yet. They haven't really pressured players out. They've managed to get no kills thus far, and they've only lost Hemp. There's the Heavy on ISD as well. He's gonna be doing a lot of work on the point. Derpy's been taken down as well, so it's gonna be even harder for Trust the Process to make anything convert here, with both of the sorters getting mowed down by the Putus as well. That is going to be a last push forted.
Yeah, but at least this time Af and Dowie have managed to get themselves out, so they're going to take the heals up into mid. They're going to have, you know, it's an Uber disadvantage, but it's not as disastrous as it would have been. They actually picked Varnu up as well with a nice pipe from ALX coming out onto him. Charlie jumping in. He's going to pick up left. They've actually had to pop out, sorry, with Connor. So the refight coming in, Yusti gets absolutely bodied by Jordy just launching himself in, finding a beautiful little rocket onto him. And the momentum is still very, very much here on the side of Trust the Process. They're up to 70%. They're going to bait the fact that they're going to fake the fact they wouldn't coming up with that Uber. Jordy launching himself really deep, pinning them back into this last point, and such a quick conversion into second. They just tick it up to 100% now. Connor's still 25% away. They're going to move it into last here, Surny.
Yet again, the same push through the same door in lobby, yet again onto the same side of the last point. This time it's a bit different because everybody on the other side has understood that they always do the same push. They're on the other side of last, and none of them are dying. None of them are even really eating too much damage, and they just clean up everybody on the side of Trust the Process. It's only left, and well, he's trying his best to maybe go for a bit of a back cap or try to get a cheeky pick here, but that's obviously not gonna happen as well. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I've been observing. They always go through that right side, and I think Stevie Wonders have understood that they always come in that side of the last. So they just went to the other side of last and won the hold. So that worked out very well for them there. And rolling that forward. Look at the momentum. They're already on mid. They're taking forward. They still have a big ad to work with. And even Af on the sniper defense, at least for a little bit there, isn't going to be able to slow them down too much.
Yeah, I was trying to make a cheeky play from forward spawn, but it didn't quite happen. Troy's actually gone down to left. Les picks up 2 on the flank as well, beasting through IT. A lot of pressure coming in towards the combo as well. Joseph just eating long-range spam from ALX. So with 2 gamers down, they not going to pop the Uber out just yet. Charlie, Joseph, Connor all really, really low, but Connor doing a good job of milking that Uber, just about pumping heals out to his team. But while, you know, it's taken a while for them to move this, it has allowed Dowie to build up that Uber to 100%. You know, they're probably aware of it, trying to make a play in towards last, in towards Dowie, but he's going to be able to banny bind in spawn as 4 gamers go in, a 4-man sack, but nothing of it, not even getting in towards Dowie, just the 1 pick of ALX, and allows Trust the Process here to move out second. Perhaps that 4-man sack a little bit optimistic, but perhaps something they also needed to really commit to when they are 3-0 down, and we are getting to the last 9 or so minutes.
Yeah, it's starting to become crunch time here if you are Stevie Wonder's aim school and you still want to be able to, you know, have a chance at taking home Process, closing this game out 2-0 in total, the series. Otherwise, you're going to be going to that final map, and as it stands right now, that's certainly looking to be what's happening, because even after this Uber exchange, again, Trust the Process coming out on top majorly. I mean, Varner is the only player even remotely healthy. He's going to get behind here, and he's going to manage to get out to Dowie, but that's an easy cleanup for Af. So even that is not much of a problem for Trust the Process here. They're just playing so solidly around their team, so much more cohesion in their fights here on Process at the very least. And they're going to keep that rolling into second as well. Yak far forward, trying to see if he can maybe deny at least for a while. He still has the sticks on point as well. I'm sure Trust the Process are not going to fall for that. Yeah, they've spotted them, so ultimately they're going to take the second as well. They're going to be looking to push last yet again with, yet again, White the ad, might I say. Varnu on the sniper as well, seeing if he can deny them. And if you're, if you've been doing your research, if you've been studying, I can almost guarantee you this is going to be the exact same last push again. Yep, they go through the same exact door again, and they're going to take it into the right side of last here. They're going to take down the sentry, put some, spam onto Troy. A little bit of cap time finally, but not much. Obviously, they're going to change ISD over to the heavy as well. They're going to manage to finally kill Troy. ISD as well, lots of spam onto the heavy there, so the frags are certainly falling in their favor. Left is going to Minecraft down Yak, and that's going to be the round converted.
4-0, Connor getting the bust kill, but it was to no avail. I mean, interested the fact that they would have that last push fail just twice in a row, and they pretty much did the same thing, and this time it worked, and maybe it was a case of them just refining it a little bit, just making sure all their timings were spot on. Maybe it was the fact that the heavy came up a lot slower that time. I think they'd actually swapped around and it was USD on NG that time.
God.
But either way, it was very, very clearly won by Trust the Process.
Yeah, and they're already off to a great mid again. I mean, immediately just a deep bomb onto Yak takes him down instantly. As the mid is going on, they trade their demos and Soldier though. They managed to pick up another scout in Ayusti, so it's looking good for Trust the Process yet again. They win on numbers and numbers alone. They're even going to be very aggressive into choke here. I mean, Left is just going to walk forward, get launched through mid. Now he's behind, putting down a lot of damage actually onto Connor. Just, Connor basically caught off guard completely, just managing to escape now. He manages to heal up the rest of his team, meet up with them again. And they have numbers now. They can try to take it forward. Jordy's caught in as well. They should be able to clean up that kill. They do. So now, Trust the Process are going to have to find themselves on the back foot here. And Dowie definitely doesn't want to use in this situation. He manages to surf it away just fine. And he manages to stay alive and meet up with his team here. There's a lot of pressure coming for choke as well already. But surely this is where the exchange happens. Connor uses first. And I mean, they have a player down on the side of Trust the Process, but this should still be a way better Uber for them. They maybe even, potentially, no, they're not going to clean up a kill, but at the very least, they're going to, hold them at bay for a while. There's Troy in deep already, though. He gets the kill onto Dowie with help there, obviously, from his scouts, and it's looking very nice. Very nice for Stevie Wonder's aim school. Left is there to pick up Ayasti, but that's gonna be it, because there's absolutely no way he's gonna deny this last point alone, as they finally cap it out. So hey, at the very least, Stevie Wonder's aim school picks up wrong round.
Yeah, that was really impressive. The collapse post-Uber there, particularly Troy just launching himself in like an ICBM. It was such a good job, just completely battering them out of position, catching them out, knowing that they had that player advantage. Troy was able to get so much damage down onto the combo, and everyone else flooded in just in perfect synchronicity and beautifully done. And maybe they're back in it, but it's still, 4-1 down and 4 minutes left.
No, it's not looking like they're really going to be able to take on Process, but at the very least, it looks like Stevie Wonder's aim school have found their way back into this game. They're looking a bit shaky there at points, and they certainly still cannot contest Trust the Process on mids here, like, not at all. Trust the Process still dominating, just absolutely dominating these mid fights on Process. I mean, Connor is caught out completely. He's not been healing anybody for at least 20 seconds. He's just playing spy at this point, He's trying his best to somehow hide away. He manages to find a friendly player for once. Jordy, in the meantime, kills Charlie in lobby, and then still escapes?
He actually got out.
What?
That's insane. That's crazy.
How?
Well,
How
they
does
just
that even
decided
happen?
not to kill him. They wanted to leave him. Either they weren't aware that he was stuck in IT, or they wanted to leave him there, but they left him too long. Been able to get out. He's even been able to build up his Uber as well, just about in time. It's going to come in. They've picked up Leth and Geordie, so no soldiers here for the side of Trust the Process. Troy's going to get cleaned up, but it's still a pretty good position here. Varnu getting a second frag as well. Alex getting hooked really, really high. He's going to get cleaned up by the flood of players coming in here from Stevie Wonder's aim school. Leaving Connor alive here. Maybe they've left the match alive as well here, or at least the map. A big bomb coming in towards Connor, who's on a sliver of health. Just jumps straight up in the air, eats another rocket, does go down, but with 3 down here for the side of Trust the Process, it does give an opportunity for Stevie Wonders to make a play towards the last bit, either the medical or the point.
It's certainly something they can do. They look to be trying to do it dry. I mean, they lose Charlie, but they trade him for the heavy effectively. They pick up Derpy here as well, and that's just a cleanup against Hemp and Dowie there, so they're gonna convert a second round. It's not over! It is certainly possible, within the realm possibility for Steve Wonder's aim school to pick up another couple of rounds here within the last 2.5 minutes. It has happened before. It is certainly possible. And if Trust the Process start taking it too easy, they are definitely throwing this away right now. So they have to just solidify. Just stop being so mushy, solidify for a couple of minutes. That's all you gotta do. Hold on to it. You have the map in the bag. As long as you don't falter, as long as that foundation doesn't crumble, you're gonna lose Dowie early, but this is something we saw in the first mid as well. They might mulligan him for the rest of the team. Unfortunately, that doesn't look to be the case, as they've only killed Yak. Hemp is the only player left alive. He can't quite kill Connor. He gets close. He can't quite kill him. And obviously, they've tasted blood, Stevie Wonder's aim school. They know that they have a chance here still. They're rolling it forward as quickly as they can. They're already on second. They're building that Uber reasonably fast. Fast enough to have it ready for last. Charlie's already in his wall, spawn camping a little bit, denying these players for as long as he can. And it looks like that Uber is going to probably put the nail in the coffin for this round as well. I know they're doing a good job at denying players off the points. So yet another round, 1.5 minutes left. It is absolutely still possible. This is what you call in the biz a TCM.
Absolutely, it is hella game on now. We're seeing just complete turnaround. Really the first kind of decisive mid one there for the side of Stevie Wonder's aim school. Can they do it as twice in a row though? We are moving now into what could be the crucial mid.
And they're gonna get Derpy or ELX early here. No demo for the side of Trust the Process. They're gonna have to try and hang into this. They're already in bad positions though. They managed to trade for Yak on the other side, but they lost Ath as well now. There's gonna be more aggression coming in. They've lost Hemp as well. Left is doing the best he can, picks up Varnu. It's looking like it's still pretty even mid, but Connor is there to heal his team. Left, I mean, he's trying his best against the Scout medic combo, and I think they've just slowed down. They've just slowed down aim school just enough to be able to solidify the map here, but it was looking a bit shaky towards the tail end there. Now they're going to be able to hold on a second, the latest fight for a little bit longer, and as long as they don't completely wipe on the side of Trust the Process here, which they won't, They have process secured. Yak can't do much alone. He's gonna go deep, but he's not gonna get the kills he needs to. Oh my.
Oh, that was, yeah, it was ropey for a minute there. Doey getting a clutch 1v1 fight against Troy. You know, Troy didn't have the most health on his side, but, you know, Doey just about doing enough. Getting a crucial crossbow at the last minute. There was still a situation, though, because Connor had built Uber so much better. If they just, you know, calmed it down a little bit and played to that Uber advantage that they did have, they could have still taken it, but it wasn't quite enough. Connor went down at a crucial time, I think, closing in on 90%. And, you know, at the end, you know, what was certainly, you know, a formidable map here for the side of Trust the Process ended up going to really squeaky bum time. And, you know, we are going to go to a third map now, but if anything, just despite the result of the map, the momentum certainly has to be in Stevie Wonder's favor, I'd say.
Yeah, like they were, you know, they were looking a bit passive for the first half or the first even 20 minutes of process there, but towards the tail end, they've picked up the pace so much. I mean, almost bringing it to a tie as well. And now headed into Snakewater, again, a map that plays differently from Process, so it could very well be an entirely different story again. So far, this is as evenly matched of a series as we could have hoped. And even though the scoreline doesn't suggest it, the logs certainly suggest that this was still quite a dominant game for Trust the Process.
Yeah, for sure. I think the big turnaround you can see here is just Yak having nowhere near that impact, dying a lot, you know, only getting 12 kills, getting a lot less damage, almost, in fact, even over 100 DPM less damage than ALX, who had, you know, a much better performance this map. Certainly, you know, not bad on the first map by any means, but coming into his own, putting out huge damage and surviving a lot better in Yak, and that kind of Demoman Spearhead not as effective on Process as it was in Gullywash. Moving into Snakewater, you'd have to say it's probably somewhere in the middle. The Demoman can certainly have, you know, a good impact, but whether that kind of Yak Spearhead will be as impactful on Gullywash, I'm doubtful, but, you know, it's certainly all to play for.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they adjust here, both teams, really, because, you know, both teams have now had a great showing on one map and a bit more shaky on another. But as you said it, as the tail end there, like with how much momentum Stevie Wonder seemed to be picking up towards the tail end of Process there, maybe also just because Trust the Process were taking it easy again. You know, maybe they were letting off the gas a bit. They were like, okay, we're up 4 rounds. You know, we have. They don't really have that much time. Maybe, you know, slow it down a bit and then reserve your energy for the last map. Who knows, right? Maybe they're thinking that far ahead in the series. But it is going to be interesting to see how this map goes, because if the momentum continues in favor of Stevie Wonder, just like it has so far, it's gonna be probably quite a quick one. I think there's a good chance that it might be over very quickly. But if Trust the Process can keep up that pressure they had, especially in the first like 20 minutes of Process, if they can play like that for an entire other map now, this could be a very close match.
Possibly. I think also Snake Wars is probably a bit slower than the other two maps as well, so that could be a factor. You know, when it has gone into stalemates, if anything, I'd say probably Stevie Wonders certainly had the better of the stalemates on the Gullywash map. Whether that will be, you know, reflect on this map or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I would expect it to be a little bit slower. There's still going to be, you know, a lot of fragging committing. You're never going to stop Yak from just ploughing forward, just taking the heels forward and doing as much damage as possible. But, you know, whether it's a case of there will probably be moments of longer stalemates, and maybe we'll see a few more off classes as well.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, Trust the Process haven't really been feeling that off-classing vibe at all, and it's been working fine for them on Process. But this isn't Process, this is a different map, and as you said, it is a bit slower, so that will probably call for some adjusting for both of these teams' playstyles, because as we've seen, they both tend to be quite aggressive. They want to play quite aggressively. They want to be quite, you know, in there. They take a lot of refights quickly enough, or at least they tend to. Like those Ubers are basically just a suggestion sometimes, because I've seen a lot of exchanges where like, okay, well they have the Uber on like a demo and a scout. We'll just kill everybody else in the meantime, and they managed to do that really well. Like both teams I've seen that out of. So Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting decision. I feel like the teams can't really decide who wants to be on the red team in the map right now, because I see 9 players on the red team, so that's fun. Maybe we've got a new game mode on our hands, 9v3.
Yeah,
Would be very interesting.
I think another big thing from the kind of first map or so, I'd say, is that what we saw from Trust the Process is whenever they just kind of played standard and, you know, did their thing, they seemed to have a slight team play advantage, particularly on that Process map you could see. But large parts of that Gully Wash map, they were trying to do weird things, like weird trades into last, almost making it a little bit too complicated for themselves, you know, bringing out some of those, you know, crazy, wacky theories from Dowie, and they really weren't able to execute them as well as they did. If they played, whenever they played a little bit more standard, it seemed to go well for them. So maybe that's something they'll look at, just, you know, calm it down, play a little bit more normal, and maybe they'll feel they have the edge.
Maybe that's just something like how they start off the match. You know, they try out all the weird or interesting out there strats, see how well they work, and, you know, as they don't, then they go back to the default state. You know, they're out of the excited, let's try out this weird thing I've been scheming, and go back to the default state. And clearly, yeah, as you said, it's been working much better for them. They seem to have slightly better focus. Those fights, when it comes down to just pure DM, tend to go in favor of Trust the Process a lot of the time. So if they don't mess up or have some truly out there strategies that, like, you know, if they work, great. If they don't, really bad. You know, like, you should always have a contingency plan, and right now the contingency plan should probably be to just not go too crazy for Trust the Process if they want to have a fast pass into Prem. Because again, I believe, like, the loser of this match still gets another chance later, right? So
yeah, they'll have to play the Germans in the lower bracket, and, you know, the winner of that still goes into Prem, and the loser unfortunately misses out to, you know, either play Div 1 or fold, depending on what your poison is. But certainly both these teams will want to clutch up this third map, get the ticket, as you say, fast pass straight into Prem. And yeah, I think it really is game on. We've seen enough from these first couple of maps that it could go either way. I think it's just going to be a case of who's, you know, a little bit more comfortable with the map. We talked about kind of the weird struts coming out, Gully Wash from Trust the Process. That might just be, you know, a factor of when you're not as confident on a map. They looked a lot cleaner on Process. When you're not as confident on Gully Wash, you want to come up with some weird things, you know, put the opposition, you know, a little bit on their heels, not sure exactly what's going on. But what we saw on Gully Wash was it was actually Trust the Process psyching themselves out. So, you know, hopefully Snakewater is a better map for them, and we're going to have a really, really good game.
Yeah, that's going to be up to the teams to make that happen. It's certainly been interesting to watch so far. They've both readied up, and unless they bait us, which I'm sure they would never do, yeah, okay, I was lining up for a funny moment in case they do. It looks like they're not. They're actually going to play the game. They're going to be rolling out for the first mid-fight on Snakewater here. Not a lot of downtime. They're looking to use that heat while they still have it. And it's going to be the map to decide which one of these teams instantaneously gets into Prem, and which one of these has to fight another attempt at making it there. As this mid goes underway, you know, classic Snake mid, teams kind of staring each other down as the soldiers prepare for their double bomb or something. That's kind of what people tend to do. There's the bomb out of Jordy, at the very least, takes the high ground, but, you know, not much else happens, and Aim School are just, like, perfectly content sitting on their side for now, not doing much. Left goes in deep, gets cleaned up. There's Hemp cleaned up as well, as Ayusa just goes across and Kate takes care of him. Charlie has already slipped in behind as well, so that's going to be Trust the Process finding themselves on a bad position. Dowie barely evading one soldier, dies to the other one coming in from the other side, so that's going to be Troy taking that kill. Af gets cleaned up as well, so that's effectively a wipe late there. But that's going to be a dominant mid out of Aim School first, and now they're already going to take that into last as well, as Connor has that Uber. They're already going to get a lot of cap time on the point here as well. They do have a bit of a sentry, but that's not going to do much when the players are all shiny. And there you go. That's a quick first one.
Yeah, I would just admit, not a kind of story off on C on the Snakewater mids where they gave up a lot of position here. on the side of Stevie Wonders, but they were able to trade up damage so much better. They got a lot more damage down on their opposition. So, a couple of players wanted to continue going forwards and lock them out, but a lot of players took so much damage they wanted to go back on Trust the Process. So they picked off the overextenders and went straight into last before a lot of gamers had even spawned. Just beautiful first round.
There's going to be a second mid. A lot faster out of Trust the Process this time, sending in both soldiers early, left opting to, take it a bit slower in the end, and then Jordy obviously not finding much, and they're going to be able to send in their brigade onto Dowie, so now no heals for Trust the Process. They're going to have to go forward. Obviously, Connor's going to be finding himself in a lot of heat here, as Ayasti gets taken down by Ath as well, now finding himself being chased down by 2 scouts. Surely they can convert this kill. Please. Okay, they can. Thank God. I was actually just sweating for a second there that they might not be able to, or at the very least lose one of the scouts, but ultimately no. The duo of Ath and Hemp, they managed to get that kill onto Connor, keep themselves in the round here, equalize those Ubers, and they're going to be able to take the mid off the back of it. Finally.
A normal medic would have killbound when he saw 2 scouts chasing him down, but
yeah.
Connor doesn't live by those rules, I'm afraid.
This is Connor we're talking about here, so obviously he tries to go for the kills as much as he can. And even if he did, even if he didn't killbind, it's not like it gave him too much of a dishad. It's only like 10%, it's not that big of a deal. And holding last ain't that terrible. It's got the sentry up on last in an interesting spot. You don't see it behind the container very often. Obviously you have Ayasti up on the sniper here as well, trying to see if he can maybe get a bit of a cheeky shot off, maybe into that shutter as they try to push through. We'll have to see. Obviously Dowie now using his Uber early, they seem to be aware that might be the case. Never mind, he didn't flash ALX though, and that's going to be the shot that Ayasti was looking for in that push there. That's going to really stop them here. That's a hard stop, pulling that handbrake on the push here for Trust the Process. With the demo out of the push that early, you can't really do much. They lose left as well, and that's going to be them just running back to second immediately. Probably going to have to give that up as well. Jordy manages to find Troy in the lower ground, basically trade for him there. They're going to have to be able to back out here if they want to stay in this remotely, because Connor now has that full Uber, and they're going to be rolling this forward as far as they can. They're actually going to use it out of lower as well. Just trying to take this onto mid, make, pressure out these players as much as they can. Left just kind of, stares at Ayasti and then jumps away as well. And yeah, that's just a classic Uber. Not really much happens. They managed to pressure out people out of mid, and now we're looking at a bit of an ad for Trust the Process.
Yeah, it's a really fast transition there. Impressive from Stevie Wonders, but they really didn't get anything done with the Uber. They didn't have anyone to target. Jordy went down, I think, a little bit before the Uber came out. So we're seeing much slower approach here coming in from Trust the Process. They're just moving it in, not even having to use doing a good job of milking. Yak going down now, traded out for Jordy with a fadeaway pipe at the last second, but they'll take that every which way. They're coming up at 100%, going to be able to move into second. Connor will probably get his Uber, but they're not going to have a demo man for this fight.
And that's going to be quite tough when you're trying to defend as well. You can send your soldiers and have them spam the low ground as much as you want, but ultimately you are the player down, and you are trying to hold on to you. The fight actually goes on long enough for Yak to come back into the fight, and the Connor is going to get forced off first with just enough spam hitting him. Obviously Dowie is so far back and is milking it so hard. He's in no danger. He does not have to respond with his own Uber. They've lost left, but left was basically what caused them to be able to get this Uber ad in the first place. So ultimately, that's all it took. Now, that re-aggression might come in from Saw here. They're going to mount a bit of a push. They have a demo and a scout there already. Obviously, the heals are there as well. They're going to be rolling in from Saw here, and it's not like Aim School can really respond much at all. They're going to have to back out to last, give the second up for free. Now finding themselves on, having to build desperately fast, but also still not having an Uber that is now pushing their last, pressuring players back into the spawn. Bit of cap time as well. Not really Sticky's on point to defend it, so you're going to have players jump onto it. Ultimately, it's still looking like an interesting fight because it can go either way. Finally, Trust the Process comes back in after rotating back into lobby. They're finding some frags, but the Uber finally comes out of Connor, and that's going to seal the deal on this hold.
Yak hits such an important 180 pipe there onto the scout. I think it was Af. He'd found him out. He was ready to backstab him on the scout class, and a crucial 180 pipe from Yaki, clean up Geordie as well, just keeping himself alive to get a second frag. But, you know, as you say, the Uber does come out, so it's going to be a decent Uber advantage here for Dowie, but, you know, with it being much, much closer than it previously had been, it's going to be kind of difficult for them to push with just a 20% out there.
Yeah, it's not going to be much to write home about, especially if they don't move quickly enough. They're certainly trying to take some ground. They're certainly going to actually use it quickly. And it looks like Stevie Wonder are well aware that that might be a possibility here, as they're already so far back. They're going to catch off these stragglers now. I mean, they lose Ayos, they lose Troy. Left has managed to slip in behind. He's on last. But that doesn't really matter when the fight is going on second. Connor uses his way better Uber to clean up some players on the point as well. Namely, Demo. Left comes in from behind as well, gets cleaned up, so ultimately this is a pretty even fight for the time being. That's him taken care of as well. Now Varnu finds himself in quite a nice position, cleans up Geordie. Dowie completely left alone. He's going to be cleaned up as well. So there's that.
You have to wonder, though, if Geordie knew how low everyone on the side of Stevie Wonders was. I think Charlie, I think it was on 4 health. Connor was on like 30 health. The scout Varney was low as well. So, you know, if Geordie had committed and got into one of the... He probably could have got 2 kills easily. He had a lot of health. He had the beam on him as well, but he just sat back, allowed Varney to chase him down, winning the scout v soldier duel, kind of duel quite easily there. So, you know, just not communicating that kind of damage that had been dealt by the rest of his team quite, and not being able to convert off the back of that.
And that's going to be probably just the situation that really seals it here, because now they're pushing into last already on the side of Aim School. I mean, they're putting a lot of cap time down. They're getting pressured off the point, but they've already picked up 2 frags. They only lose Troy on their side. They lose Varnu as well. The Heavy is still up on the side of Af. He's putting on a lot of damage and cleans up a lot of kills here. Yak and Ayasti, namely, being the 2. Geordie's going to deny Charlie from getting out much as well. And he's going to even try to chase Connor. Ultimately gives up the chase, though. Connor manages to escape just barely, with his life clinging on to those 13% Uber charges that he's had. But that's a botched push.
Yeah, just... There wasn't immediate cap time threat there coming in from Stevie Wonders, so the Heavy was able to do so much work. Eventually, they just all had to feed into him, but it was just taking arrow after arrow after arrow. Putis were doing a lot of work. Moving into mid here, getting the Uber popped out. Going to be able to chase just Troy down. There's a sniper in forward spawn, but he is going to back up there. They're going to have it fully locked down, but the cap's second up, and Connor is still not even at the Uber. They have to be a bit aware of the Uber coming in shortly, but at the moment it seems they're free to roam in towards second and maybe even get a sack play in.
Yeah, I mean, Lef has already jumped in behind. Geordie's up on the pipe as well. Af is in as well, so they're gonna be at least putting down some cap time here. Maybe even pull the team back as, you know, the combo's fighting on mid. They realize, wait, hold on, there's players behind us. We need to come back. They didn't even get to use the Uber. Connor's master plan didn't quite work out here. Now he's gonna have to pull back. They managed to actually clear the players off the point. At the very least, they managed to hold on to second. But that's gonna put in such a wrench into their plans here. They still have that full Uber, but the advantage has dwindled so much. Left now jumps in and drops Connor. Beautiful 1-2 punch, the combo you love to see. That is just dirty. My lord.
That's impressive because, you know, just how much Trust the Process are kind of all the same page. They're all committed for that back cap. We now see Dowie taking a ton of damage here. And the scout is going to run it. They are going to pick him up. That's a drop as well, I believe. Just hemp the one remaining survivor. Probably enough players around to clean him up. He's duking and diving away from the gamers. And Yusti can't find anything. He's going to pick up Troy as well. And Yusti eventually cleans him up. But it's got into a bit of a DM fest right now. Mid cap in the favour of Stevie Wonders. They're going to be able to take... They've got a very, very slight advantage. It's going to be difficult to leverage anything off the back of that, but they do have the mid-fight and they can move towards second.
Well, it was a great opportunity and they managed to not make use of it, and then Charlie gets onto Dowie yet again as I am trying to have my somber moment here. So now they're going to have to try to take care of Connor here. Connor is... you know, in a lot of heat, but he is surrounded by his friends that love him dearly and want him to stay alive, and certainly he's making a great job at, like, just running away as well, but ultimately, he's only got Varnu, and now he's been taken care of. So now it's only Connor left. He has to somehow fend for his own here. He doesn't even have an Uber Saw, so it's not like he could save himself by hitting one of those, which would be quite useful right now. And as we know, he doesn't kill bind, so that's going to be him dying. Charlie just a second too late, manages to pick up ALX, but that's going to be it. So again, Trust the Process managing to hold on nicely there, not even losing second, and potentially giving themselves a good chance at mid here as well. I mean, Af and Doey, hesitant, but they are making some progress forward. They're realizing there's not really much contesting them so far. The rest of the team realizes and, you know, backs them up as well. And suddenly there's a bit of a fight on our hands here. I mean, Left manages to slip in behind yet again as well, while the rest of the team is fighting a bit up front and just denying each other some ground. A little bit of cap time on mid there. Ultimately, Trust the Process deciding to back out again. They've lost too many players and too much positioning. Gonna be able to trade Af for Charlie. But that's gonna be about it as Yak is rolling forward with his team. We're putting a lot of damage down onto that point area. They're gonna pick up Jordy, who's overextended. The rest of the players already backing out to last as well. It's just getting chased down so hard. Derpy might even go down. No, he does live, but only barely. And there's the spearhead. Yak already gets picked out the sky by Hemp. Hemp's tired of his bullshit. He's not having it anymore. He's had enough. He's taken him down. So they're going to be able to finally stop that push. Now in equal Ubers, but very much a player advantage for Trust the Process, taking this into second, trying to get back out here. They're still down a round on Trust the Process. It's only been one round so far. We're almost halfway through the map, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how they finally try to convert it. Obviously, for now, first step is going to be this Uber exchange that's going in the favor of Trust the Process. Doey will way better Uber. Connor trying to, you know, dance around as best he can. They've managed to pick up 3 players on the side of Trust the Process as well here. They've only lost Connor for the aim school. They managed to lose a couple more though. Derpy picking up those frags. He is laying down the damage. It's probably going to slow them down sufficiently for them to maybe even recontest second here. They still have the heals advantage. They can just win the war of attrition if they so desire. They just have to make sure that they keep Doey safe. It looks like that's their main priority right now, as Troy managed to pick up an overextended app as well. They're still re-aggressing though. They're still trying to keep in this. And you can't blame them. They're definitely doing their best. Charlie's going to fight Lep on the sidelines. That's a fight for another day though, because Charlie wins it. Derpy gets cleaned up as well by Varnu. They managed to trade him out for an Ayasti, but that's about it. They lose Hemp as well. So now, aim school are looking a lot better on this push. They have not good Uber situation, which is what Doey's going to use this advantage. But there's a back cap. All it took for Varnu was to slip through. And there it is. Second round.
Yeah, wow. I mean, Trust the Process did such a good job just keeping Doey alive that whole time, but eventually, you know, they just kept losing, just weird fights on the flank. Just the aggression coming out of Stevie Wonders was a sight to behold, and they just keep picking off players here and there. They never really had all 6 gamers up to be able to stabilise there for Trust the Process, and eventually a poor Uber did come out off the back of it, and the back cap came in, and now we're at 2-0.
And now it's going to be, you know, playtime for a Trust the Process here, because now 2 rounds down. They're starting to feel the heat a little bit. They got to start make something happen here. And as far as this mid is concerned, it's already going very poorly. They've lost all of their damage classes. It's only Hemp left. Doey's running away, trying his best to stay alive, and Connor is on the crit streak as well, just to really, you know, cause some havoc here, cause some dismay. I mean, they've just started capping mid. They're already on last, using the crits, seeing if they can pick someone off. Beautiful sticky onto Doey there. That's all they needed to do with it. They have already accomplished all they had to do, and now it's basically smooth sailing. They just gotta keep Connor alive, keep those crits going, and this could be another quick round for aim school.
Could be, but you know, this is now an opportunity here for Trust the Process. They could get their sniper up, they could get an engineer, even a pyro if they wanted. All these kind of off classes are good against the crit streak. So they know that there's a different kind of threat coming in with Connor coming up towards the crit streak. They're trying to smartly actually peek and getting the sentry down before they're even anywhere up near towards that 100% crits. Soldier is even going to jump in, get cleaned up in there. They've lost 3 gamers before this crits has even come up though, so now we're going to see actually Trust the Process are going to be able to peek towards second. Oof. But no Uber to save ALX. The crit stickies do come in. They're going to get a lot of damage down in towards Jordy as well, and Doey going down. It's a complete crunch. They're going to be able to sail moonwalk their way in towards last. Connor being the furthest forward. Just one soldier to deal with left. He's not going to be able to kill everyone. And it's going to be a 3rd round suddenly, you know, what looked a desperate situation, they somehow made it work with the crit streak, and it's really Stevie Wonder's all favour to them.
Trust the Pros is just allergic to backpedaling there. You know, not expecting that Yak might be able to rotate through that little window in time just to snipe that one sticky into them. Beautifully nailing the combo. You love to see it. That's going to be 3-0 now for Aim School, and they're really far up now. This is exactly the situation we saw ourselves in, just reversed on the other map. We're more than halfway through, one team is up a significant amount of rounds. Now if Trusted Pros want to have any chance at getting the fast pass to Prem, they have to start playing better. They have to start picking up some rounds here, making cleaner plays, not messing up as much as they have. And it shows because both teams are being kind of passive here on the mid. Obviously, Trusted Pros is a bit more passive. Troy manages to slip out from Kitchen, gets onto Doey though. That's such a good opener. Meanwhile, Connor already gets his Uber as well. Like, it's gonna be such an easy closer here now for Stevie Wonder's Aim School. They can even use that Uber to just clean up all these extended players. They don't really have to care because Doey isn't even gonna spawn anytime soon. Ath is literally the only player left, and he's just running away.
Yeah, Charlie just did such a good job on that mid-fight. He was able to jump in and clean up off the back of Troy's damage. Troy had turned some heads, he was able to clean up the medic there. Jump himself straight back out, got himself in a defensive position, and got clean rockets onto the oncoming surge, and cleaned up the Alex frag as well. Just Charlie being everywhere in that mid-fight, getting all the crucial frags.
Yeah, so looking like they might just want to continue their momentum here. I mean, they have the sniper on the side of Trusted Pros with Hemp. He gets a nice shot there onto Troy. That's certainly going to bite him a little bit of time here, especially with that they find themselves at, you know, trying to hold here. Charlie still far forward, pressuring a little bit, decides to finally back out of lobby as well. They're now respecting the sniper. Officially, sniper respect mode has been engaged. Hemp has shown dominance. He's going to move forward in lobby here with his team to see if he can get another angle. As, you know, Aim School are probably going to try to prevent that from happening. Very close to getting a shot off onto Connor there, actually. Just gets spammed down in time before he can left click. But that's going to be a rotation out of Aim School. They're already in for lower onto the point. So much gap time, and the stickies just blow away Doey. He tried to Uber onto the point to block it, and Yak just decided, nah, you're not going anywhere, bud.
So impressive, so quick, so on the ball, just the combo charging forward, Yak sticking them off, the scout getting on. While all that was happening, you know, crazy stuff was happening in lobby. There's a sniper who went down, there's Geordie in behind, and just not enough gamers were in position ready for what Yak was going to throw at them, and, you know, just caught them completely off guard and get a round off the back of it, and now we're moving in towards, you know, complete domination. Really impressive mid-fight actually here. You just immediately flood across the point, kill everyone. And are we seeing the turning of the tide?
Is this the other TCM that we were hoping for could happen? Now there's a good chance here for Trusted Pros to make that exact thing happen. They're already on last, trying to spawn cap, see what they can do. Derpy wins the demo diff this time. ISD's up on the sniper, see if we can snipe out a spawn as well. That's not gonna happen. They're gonna have to rotate to the other side. Second is being capped off. They're on last with this Uber. They can use it whenever they desire. Obviously, they're gonna find themselves in a rough spot here, so they're gonna have to do it. They only have 2 players, though. It's only a scout and a demo. They're gonna be very spread thin, trying to make this Uber work. And there's gonna be a lot of people trying to deny you the cap. Finally, the backup is here. They managed to get onto the point, pressure those players off. So now, here's the thing. The TCM is possible. 10 minutes left. 3 rounds at least to take for Trust the Process. They got a great quick round there. That is certainly something you love to see. That's certainly a good confidence builder. Let's see if they can keep it rolling. This is looking like a match that is going to have a lot of rounds played. Let's see if they can just make that wonder happen again on the mid immediately. Just get those players down. Insane focus, insane damage across immediately. Jordy jumping in deep. There's Left as well. They managed to get some damage down, but they don't get any kills just yet. They only managed to pick up Troy, lose everybody else so far. Only Doey and Hemp left, and they're gonna have to start backing out here because Charlie's already on their tail. He manages to get denied by Hemp, but yeah, it's already slowed down again.
crazy that both medics made it out of that mid-fight. Don't think Connor knew where he was. The enemies didn't know where he was. His team didn't know where he was. He was stuck just spinning round in a corner, but does survive on the back of it. It's going to be an Uber coming out here from the side of Trust the Process, feeling they're having to press the issue. They're going to pick up Charlie in it, so it's not a bad trade by any means. Slightly longer coming out, but the damage is done. Mostly on their side. Doey does go down, but Troy and Connor the only survivors here, and I think they're both probably going to get caught out as well. We're seeing Hemp run in, he picks up Troy. Connor's alone, he's actually been able to get himself nice and far back. Not built up much of an Uber charge for sure, but Doey still hasn't spawned, so you know, while the second cap has gone in, they haven't really got the momentum to move in towards mid here.
And that's going to be really slowing them down, really going to be an issue, because now Connor does have that slight ad. It's not going to be much, but it's going to be enough to, you know, stop Trust the Process from getting any rash ideas. They're going to have to be on the defensive here. They're going to have to make sure that they don't just lose second in a bit of a toss-up, because that would really throw a wrench into their plans. So they're going to have to take it slow now. They're going to have to make it right. Gonna have to make it happen. Get a nice sack in or something like that, because that's really what you need now. And all of AIM School are bunched up there near Saw, just making sure that they can get their Uber, maybe even use it through, just to really hammer home the point that they're kind of like in the driver's seat still. You know, they're kind of still the normal, the dominant team here, the standard that everybody else needs to play by. And even though they're on the defensive side defending mid here, they have that height advantage, they have the defender's advantage. It's really, the ball is in the court of Trust the Process. They have to make something happen here. The time is running out. They still need 3 rounds. That's a lot to do in 7 minutes. So you have to start pressing the issue. You have to start finding a way through here. Just push your way through, chad your way through, whatever you need to do. Left is gonna take the charge, get in. There's the Uber out of the team as well. They're gonna get yacked very early. Troy gets taken down as well. That's looking very good for Trust the Process so far. Now in the post Uber, obviously, the AIM School are gonna have to run away. They lose Charlie as well. That's a lot of damage off the board for AIM School here. Trust the Process have a great chance. Ayasti gets taken down by Left. Left also gets Varnu. Beautiful rockets. Connor yet again left alone. He's gonna get cleaned up as well. So now Trust the Process, they're pushing that issue. They're getting it going. Left going huge, opening up his team here, making sure that they can actually have a chance at pushing this last. All they have to do is get on that point, get some cap time. There's barely anybody to defend. It's only Charlie and Yak right now. Everybody else is in spawn, and they're not going to get out anytime soon. So that's the second round. 6 minutes for 2 rounds. There you go.
Yeah, it's back on again. It's back on again for sure. I mean, it was a really ropey mid defense there, coming in with the Uber trade, just dropping Yak out of it for the side of Stevie Wonders. But then Left just picking up both the scouts with big air shots. That made a huge difference and made it much easier for them to push into last. They didn't have to recycle and play the ad. They just picked off the player advantage, and now there's still 5 minutes, so they're only a couple of rounds down.
It's gonna be just insane to see what Trust the Process do here. I mean, already Left in so deep, almost hits the air shot onto Connor. Doesn't quite, but Connor gets cleaned up anyways. That's already a huge pick. They've lost Doey on their side as well, so it's basically a full-on DM server. 4 players on each side. Currently, the frags are certainly falling in the favor of Trust the Process. This is the DM we were talking about at the start. They seem to just have better DM in these situations. Yak is caught in behind. He is alive, but he's not going to be doing much. He's going to just get all of his ground denied. And ultimately, that's the better fight for Derpy there as well. So they win mid yet again, and they have time to work with. 5 minutes is possible for 2 rounds. They just got to keep it rolling. And certainly as it stands right now, they're doing a good job at it.
Yeah, I don't think it's raw individual DM. I think what it comes down to is the cohesion, the focus fires a little bit better. Whenever Stevie Wonders are committing and they're all going forward, then it works out well for them. But when it's kind of just a bit scrappy and they have to focus different targets, it seems there is a bit of an advantage here for Trust the Process. They're just a little bit more familiar with each other. And again, they're picking up both of the scouts here at the tail end of what is again a scrappy fight, so they're going to be able to pressure in towards the last. There's no scouts, so no denial for potential sack, and going to be probably no off classes as well. Both the soldiers jumping in towards the last. They're already moving in, getting a little bit of pressure down, and they're going to go for medic, and they're going to go for point. It's actually the point. There's a Pootis out, but they're all just going to flood onto the point. Clean. That's a 3rd round.
Clean, so clean. clean up the scouts beforehand. You have absolutely nothing to fear. You can just walk forward, take all the ground you want, deny people, push him back into spawn. Really, like, early there as well on that push. They pushed Connor back so far. He was disconnected from his team for so long, couldn't buff anybody, couldn't heal anybody. Suddenly, you have, like, way better health. And yeah, that's 3-4 now. Trust the process. They're smelling it. They're smelling that cash. They know it's still very winnable, that it's very possible. And obviously, Stevie Wonders are gonna be feeling the heat now. They don't want to throw this away like the other team almost threw away the previous map. They were in the situation on the last map, just on the other side. And as this mid goes, it's going a bit better for Stevie Wonders this time. They managed to have Ayasti slip through, get onto Doey. But they're still losing a lot of players. They need to keep Connor alive here, and Af is really pressuring that damage. He can't quite find the kill, but Connor's so low. One meat shot is all enough. It's actually a pistol that cleans him up. Oh. Obviously, Af is there to back him up as well. They get mulched by Charlie, but ultimately, it's still a 1 mid for... Even if it's scrappy, it's still a 1 mid for Trust the Process, and you can't help but root for them a little bit right now.
But Charlie just did so much work at the end of that mid-fight. Doey did go down, but he came in, picked up 2 of the weak gamers, found Alex with a fadeaway rocket. It was launched miles in the air, probably would have cratered, but landed on the health pack to keep himself alive. Just a perfect job from Charlie, just doing everything. And, you know, while they did lose the mid, Charlie does keep himself alive, and they're in a much, much more even position on the second. A bit of a disadvantage, but it would have been a lot worse had it not been for Charlie's intervention.
Charlie definitely buying his team a lot of time. There isn't going to be enough, though. They're certainly finding 2 more frags as this push goes underway. They're finding the frags. Af gets taken down as well. Left is in behind. Kind of caught out. He might be able... He deads the Minecraft kill on Yak. Honestly, that might be all that matters here. But as it stands, obviously, Derpy and Doey are going to have to back off here again. They're going to have to give up mid. And that is losing precious seconds now. They're going to have to use that Uber, actually. Interesting choice. I mean, I guess taking the Demo and a Soldier is good enough to try and trade Ubers. They certainly get onto Connor early, but now Doey's completely left alone. He cannot possibly escape from 2 soldiers. It's simply not doable. They managed to lose mid as well now. It's starting to look a little bit scrappy for Trust the Process. I think they bit of a bit more than they can chew here, and it's starting to come back to bite them. Because now they're on the back foot. Lef is trying his best to stand his ground. I'm pretty sure he got an air shot onto Troy there, but couldn't quite finish the kill. But ultimately, it's not looking great for them. Now, aim school, they're looking down another... Just parking the bus here even for 1.5 minutes. If they don't royally lose this upcoming fight, that is inevitably going to happen because Trust the Process have to fight if they want to even have a chance at winning, then they have won and they have, you know, secured themselves into Premiership. As it stands, well, they're doing an okay job. They managed to pick up Doey early and Connor gets his Uber off, so I think that's probably going to seal the deal for this fight. Hemp is still in. He's going to fight Charlie. He's going to get the kill on him, but ultimately he's not going to be able to do that much. Af is also killed on last, and that's actually going to be another round converted as well, so there you go.
Yeah, pretty clutch. Twice during that round, Connor got his Uber just about in time as the aggression and players flooded in towards him. They ticked up just to 100%. He was able to pop just in the nick of time. And, you know, that happening twice in a round does make a huge difference. They're able to, you know, go back to back from, you know, their last to the enemies, convert the round, and now we're at 5-3 with just 30 seconds left. It's very, very much game over. And we will be seeing Stevie Wonder's aim school making their way to Prem.
Charlie with the Demo Knight to mid as well. Just you know, gets a nice head chopped off of ALX there just to round out the game. You'd love to see it. Doesn't quite get onto Doey, unfortunately, but you know, it is what it is. That's gonna be your second confirmed Prem team for the season. From the qualifiers, at least.
From the qualifiers, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will see Stevie Wonders making their way into Prem to take on the real big boys. And then the other team, Trust the Process from tonight, they will be going down into the lower bracket, which will now be a decider for the final Prem spot. They'll be taking on the German team. I don't know exactly when that will be. Possibly, you know, as early as tomorrow, maybe Sunday. We'll have to wait and see. Keep your eyes checked for TFTV for that, but that should be a good game as well. Seen a lot of good action, you know, 2 great best of 3s in the last 2 days for this qualifying these qualifying rounds, and should be a good game, that third one as well.
There's a lot of competition. It's a lot of competition. You love to see that. I mean, this was close fought, at least for a while. Obviously, ultimately, kind of a dominant performance by the AIM school, at least for the first half. Suddenly, trust the process, find their way back into this match, almost get that TCM, not quite. But then ultimately, that last map was probably as evenly matched as it could have become. Like, it's hard to say if it could have been much closer. The only way it could have been much closer was probably a golden cap. So, yeah.
Yeah, much closer in frags. We're seeing a lot of bias. The scouts getting a ton of frags for Trust the Process. A little bit more evenly split on the side of Stevie Wonders. You got to look at Doey dying, a few more times as well than Connor, which had been a turnaround from at least the previous map. So that was probably a big factor as well. But overall, these two teams are pretty evenly matched across the three maps. Just a little bit here and there where one side just nailed it, and at the end of the day, Stevie Wonders clutched it, and just be down to Trust the Process. I don't think they'll be too disappointed. I think they'll feel certainly that final decisive game is winnable, and just hopefully they keep their mental in order, and I think they can certainly win it. It won't be easy. The Germans will provide stiff competition, but definitely they need to just refine a few things. They don't need to make wholesale changes by any means.
Yeah, they looked very solid for the most part. I mean, I am nowhere near in a position to criticize anybody's play in this game anyway, but for the most part, that was a solid game. They were just outmatched. Like, it just ultimately, Charlie won his AIM school, maybe having a better day, maybe just ultimately a bit more solid, a bit better in their team play and making their plays work at the end of the day. So they're going to get their deserved spot in Prem, and they're going to be able to battle it out for playoffs and whatnot in the coming weeks. But as it stands, we're going to be seeing more of Trust the Process in the upcoming, qualifier, whenever that is, probably at the end of the week. And yeah, that's going to be it from us for now, I think, unless you have anything else you want to say, Dave.
I'm good, other than Shadow Sensation.
Well, there you go.
Losing track under the water, searching for something that I've been missing. Looking back when we were younger, heartbeats were rushing but always pumping. I drive away, leave it behind us without a trace. Live for the day, then for moonlight. No one could say we didn't do it right. So far away, baby, I forgot to breathe. This town's got a hold on me. My mind is a casualty. Find me open spaces.